Where's my camera? Oh, I guess I'm mic'd. All right, good. Face. Oh, good. Oh, good. The stupid thing is on the fritz. Probably a router issue. Let's look up face cam. Face light 2.12. Hey man, what's going on? You got a website? Or are you just dead? I might have bumped into it when I did the garbage last night. There it is. Toggle. Okay. I can hit restart. Usually when I hit restart though, it just goes away and it doesn't come back. So I hit restart. Now I'm gonna wait. These things are really bad at restarting themselves. I don't know why. Sonoff S31 modules. And I just gotta give it a minute and try it again. Let's see. Super Slicer gone. Oh, I need to close Fusion 360 on the other machine. Let me do that. Close Fusion 360. So we're gonna be using it today. Don't pause the job. Do the upload. Come on. Don't be weird about it. Don't make it weird, Fusion. Programs nowadays, when you close them down, have to give you all this superfluous information. Like Windows being like, we can't close Windows because you have a window open in Windows. It's like, why do you do that? Why do you do that? I told you to close. All right, let's check on the light and see if it's back. It means refreshing the web page. No, not RST. I want the regular one. IP address. Yeah, see, it just dies. And I don't know, like I hit restart and it doesn't restart, so. This is Davidson Ospina from a 2020 broadcast with Hex DJs, which are the music people that I like. I don't know about the quality of the mixing here, but I remember it being fun at the time. All right, so now I take the module and I unplug it. Which one is it on? It's on this one. It's on the nicer one. Blue light, flashing, unplug. He's dead. Plug it back in. Man, need some consistency with these fucking modules, man. Bada bing. There it is. It's back. And it's back. Man, you know, the only problem is I can't reset that one. I can't reset the track lights. So I think they're off today. I don't have like an easy way to do that. You gotta, where's the web page for them? Yeah, it's just not loading. It's just not loading. So like maybe eventually they'll come back, but like, oh, there it is. Now is that gonna work? I push the button, nothing happens. Thank you, wonderful. Come on, man. Console. See, it like takes forever for it to do anything. I think I might have just heard a click. I think maybe all my clicks are delayed. I've started throwing stuff out around here. I've had to, oh, wonderful. I've had to be a little bit more stringent about the stuff that I keep around because all the old project stuff, it's gotta go. I'm buried in it, right? I'm getting buried in my own, petard. I don't know, just all these little project things that I'm not getting to. All need to be broken down and stored. Broken down and stored. Oh, okay. You're gonna mess with me too? You too, little buddy? Come on, man. Why do these do this periodically? All right, so let's go to the stand light. Oops, stand light. Hold on. I don't understand why they do this. So if I hit restart and click OK, it'll take forever to get the command, and then when it restarts, it still isn't fresh. It's like restarting it isn't restarting it, and I don't know what else to do. Sonoff S31 Tasmoda doesn't restart. Energy total can't be reset. I don't care about that. There we go. Failed to connect the network after the power cycled. You can output here if using rules. What, do I have to redo some of this stuff? Console log. Your router is to blame. It stores leases in an ARP table, which are not valid anymore. Reduce lease time or manually delete stored leases. But these are... should be forever leases. What about... why should this be a Tasmoda only issue? No other devices experience the same issue. Furthermore, my Tasmoda devices are outside my DHCP range. Have static IPs. I do have static IPs configured. They're not outside of the DHCP table range, though. I wonder if I should do that. Please try with the latest firmware. Ah, come on, guys. I mean, don't. That's not what I. Don't do that. Unless they, consent. Right, the latest stated. This device shows up in router 7 to 10 seconds, then disappears. Same problem. Version uses Wi-Fi setup, which is now used again in the development branch. That analysis of the network traffic. Static IP router does mean you still use DHCP. Devices have a real static IPs. The IPs are set in the device, and there's no entry in the router. Testing. Delete the entry for a Tasmoda device which is behaving weird and configure the static IP only. I already did this. I already have tested 8.1, but died, sadly to say. I still have the same issues. Seems to be an ARP issue. Some settings in your router are conflicting with the config in your Tasmoda device. If you have this issue, delete the static IP for every entry from your router and set DHCP in your Tasmoda. Come on, man. Tasmoda uses MQTT. There's no real need for a fixed static IP. Yeah, the need for the static IP is so that you know what your shit is, so you can get into it and reset it like I am. See? Reset. Like, come on. You guys can't be that dumb. I just let everybody get on the network and go wherever, and then when I need to find a device, I have to open up 7 different IP addresses. This is not loading. It seems like a caching issue on the device, though, because the device eventually goes all wonky. And then when I hit reset, it's like struggling. This should reset. It's not resetting. When I unplug it, it fully does it. What a bummer. Undoing my bindings did nothing. Don't seem to be the only one with this issue. Using ASUS. Uh-oh. Gonna try to change bandwidth from 240 to 20 megahertz. That's... Anyone has similar device AP instead of connecting one AP's router. Unsuccessful. Remove this IP. Several devices. Same thing yet again. After unsuccessful attempt. All right, I don't care about the failures. What'd you do to fix it? Enter my Wi-Fi settings and pulled an all-nighter to set up. That's why I command. If you unplug it and plug it in again, it'll work. I just want to keep it. Troubles came after updating to blah. Power cycling your AP routers and removing IP assignments doesn't help. See, but mine does. I have the same issue. Provide SSID, Wi-Fi config. Blah, 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 blah. For what it's worth, unified Wi-Fi. All right, post-flashing Tasmoda. I've not done special. Why is this relevant? You're just giving them the settings. See, this is what I think. This is what I think it fills up with. Reason the problem is I'm thinking using 2 device setup. One on off. Power to the... Ah, come on, man. All right, next. ARP is handled. Same issue. Asus RT86U. I think that's what I used to use. Switching off the 2.4 and again on after a few seconds seems to fix the problem. As rebooting the router. I really don't want to do that. Lowering DHCP release time to 5 minutes. That's a little bit much. Printed as a PDF, blah, 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 blah. This is wireless, 2.4. It just feels like a weird solution. 142 hidden. Oh my god. Okay, any other? I don't care about device recovery. This was the lie that I was sold when I was having trouble with the light switch for the room. Oh man, that was fun. Hold the button down for 40 seconds. After that, the device should reset and reboot. Fully power cycle. After reset and reboot, by that they mean reset all the settings. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted to cycle the device without powering it off. But this is unfortunately a completely, it's a recovery process. So you have to then go like log in your Wi-Fi specifically to that device and give it all your Wi-Fi settings to bring it back. I don't want to have to do that. The edge. Oh yeah, I need the setup. Start. There you go. There. Now you guys have context. We're not starting yet. I'm just struggling with my stupid stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to do about this. ZB Bridge Pro. Mo's Tasmoda. I'm no longer understanding any of this. All these results, they're not like regular language. What up, Danger Mouse? How you doing? Been quiet here on the pre-stream because I'm a little bit early. I'm like 20 minutes early, which is just absolutely unacceptable from a streamer. Oh my god, he started early because he's bored and he's been thinking about projects. Yeah, somebody's always got to mention the soon thing. Father, I've never chatted in your chat before, but I feel like I know more about streaming than you already. So I have to tell you that you still have starting soon up. What is your problem? Love and kisses, first time chatter. I recently converted some SwitchBot mini plugs to Tasmoda and noticed the relay doesn't stay on while the Tasmoda restarts. That has nothing to do with my problem. Why would you even say that? Sonoff S31 Tasmoda doesn't, but it like, so I see the splash, like the regular, like control screen, the one control screen, but it like, after reboot, I guess home row errors are now part of the algorithm of Google. And I say now, it's probably been like that for 10 years. Randomly rebooting on its own? Nah. Reboot over 20 minutes? Nah. More results from GitHub. Energy total. Not working. No current rating. Does not enter flash mode. Cannot reset energy today. It's more like configuration setting loss on power outage. That's not even it. So Tasmoda slow after power outage. Delay on power restore. NTP sometimes stop working after a power failure. I don't know if it's NTP or not. I don't even know what NTP is. Hey, Ace1234, Animal Groin and Mahalo. How you guys doing? I am struggling with, of course, stuff that I've been trying to improve my life with. I guess we're not done with this yet because we have to design a circuit board around it. This is the USB switching project. I have the chips for that. I think we have to create a circuit board for it because that chip is too small. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. It's too small. I can't solder around that thing. So we'll put a bunch of 4-pin pyros on the thing, and then I can do the one chip, and then I can do the rotary thing on it as well, and the LIN bus plug. We'll just make one circuit board that'll go in the front of the steering wheel project, and I can flip it from input to input, and then that'll be it. we have to make a circuit board because that QFN package, I could make it work, but what I would render into existence is not acceptable by the standards of the morality of man. It would go outside of I think what is ultimately acceptable as sort of a good and just society. So anyway, I'm struggling with IP related things that I could walk over and unplug and replug. I was hoping to find a more remote solution because one of the things that isn't functioning here is the track lighting, and the track lighting has one of the Sonoff devices, but it's up there. It's up in the ceiling. So I can't get to it. I can't get to it. I probably could have hidden a Tasmodo device inside of the little like end caps of the track light, and that way I would have been able to get to the reset button or the activate button or whatever. But like, look at this, it's just not working. And if I unplug it and plug it in, it'll be working in a second. And I hit reset on the thing and it did not listen to me. I was trying to get into the console, but it's not letting me do anything. Typical code seemed to be fine. It's not using the RTC memory in a bad way. If another device was in a bad state, I tried unplugging it for a while, but it was still broken. This is not my problem. Increase the logging level. When I restarted, did not see any additional logging. I guess I could look at the log and see what's happening, but I have a feeling it's going to be connection attempts for like 500 lines. Unplug the device for a long period of time. Don't care. Blah, 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 blah. One particularly common software error is to generate query packets at short, less than 5-second intervals until a response is received. With such an implementation finds itself behind a packet filter that refuses to pass the incoming response. The result is a never-ending stream of requests to NTP server. Grossly over-eager clients, particularly in those polling once per second, commonly make up more than 50% of the traffic on public NTP. Despite, this is maybe not related, but it might kind of be related. Maybe maybe the router's rejecting all the requests because they're too often. I'm gonna check the router, but you guys aren't allowed to see. You guys aren't allowed to see the router, so I gotta do it like this. You have to go by the reflection on my glasses. What was my password again, guys? Hunter1, I think it was. Wasn't it? I don't know. You guys know better than I do. I hate that they've been able to break out individual key presses. I mean, you have to observe the keys being pressed and the tones that they make, but I mean, it's not really AI. Somebody will call it AI. It's just an algorithm. It's just like a transform filter that pulls out the frequencies and then identifies the severity of them and puts them within sort of a fuzzy rating system in order to extract what key has been pressed, because the individual frequencies of the key that's being pressed, if you've got good enough audio, you should be able to differentiate that from the other keys because they'll resonate differently. And so they've been able to get passwords that way, or at least security experts have, which means that in a controlled environment, they've been able to do it. Yeah, router was timed out for speaking too much in chat. That's what it seems like. Let's see, what am I looking at? Wireless, band, 2.4, what do we got? Auto, EG protection, I don't know what that is. Wi-Fi 6 mode? Do I want? If compatibility issue occurs when enabling 802.11ax, Wi-Fi 6 mode. I don't know if I need that. Wi-Fi Agile multiband, target wake time. This is a new DJ. This is one from PEX. Credit where it's due. This is PEX DJ's monthly from 4/10/2020. They kind of stopped doing the monthly stuff as we moved out of the pandemic, but there were some pretty cool monthly sessions that PEX DJs did. Their Twitch. Hey, flatulent gonad rating with a party of 41. I saw you go on at 8:30 in the morning. I was like doing the Limmy squint at my phone. That's like yesterday for your standards, really? There's something wrong with my network. It's very slow. We're dealing with my lighting right now. For those of you in the gonadosphere, I hate myself for saying that. I have a bunch of lights in my shop, and those lights in my shop are controlled by Node-RED. Gonatosphere. My soul leaves my body just a little bit every time I say it. This is Node-RED. Node-RED is like a bunch of Java flows that you can program in sort of a visual way, which I appreciate. I like connecting pipes. And so what we have here are a bunch of devices on my own personal little network that are all sort of collected together, right? And I have reflashed a bunch of smart plugs with what's called Tasmota, which okay, so we were looking at, a long time ago, we were looking at this light right here, because this light right here has in it a wireless device, right? We haven't gotten around to reprogramming this specific device to be on its own, so I actually have a little Wi-Fi plug that's connected to this. Makes it a little slower. But when we looked at this light, we installed their own software, their own phone software, and it whitelisted an IP address that is associated with and again, not my words, these are the words on when we looked up the IP address, a Chinese email server that is commonly associated with propaganda. That's what their software does on these GVM lights. So I'm never touching that phone app at all, ever. You can reflash devices with what's called Tasmota. You Tasmotize them. Speaking of weird, good words. You Tasmotize these devices, and so they then work only in the context of what you expect out of a smart home device. It only connects to Wi-Fi. It only does what you set it to do. It does not have its own app. You can control it by other means. And so the other means by which to control it, in my case, is Node-RED. Node-RED, you can get these Tasmota nodes, and you can configure them with what's called MQTT, and that'll give you just sort of friendly names that you can put in order to associate them with. You get a topic and a command on the top. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with it, right? I'm using it in a very rudimentary sense. So when I have my, let's see, oh wait, the shop fan is on? Which one is that? Nothing happened. Okay. Well, anyway, so for instance, with the light that illuminates my face, I can hit a toggle on it and turn it off automatically. Now that's not smart home, that's me hitting a button on Node-RED. The smart home stuff comes in when you get into this stuff. So what happens is I have a Stream Deck that will then send an HTTP request. That HTTP request gets parsed out and turned into automation. So I can actually have it turn on and off all the lights that I use when I stream, or I can have it so that when I flip to a particular scene in OBS, it will then turn on or off a specific light. In addition to that, I also have a button on the Stream Deck that will allow me to change the FPS of a camera source, because OBS controls that, not the Windows camera drivers. So in conjunction with a little, just basically on the algorithm of the button that I press, it will go into the Windows drivers and change settings, and then it'll also tell OBS to change settings. So I can hit a button on the Stream Deck, and it will calibrate my Logitech cameras to look nice and have the same settings every time. And then credit where credit's due, the music that we're listening to is from Pex DJs. It was their monthly stream from 2020 with Davidson Ospina. Pretty awesome. I look for several-year-old music in order to play in the background when I do my intro. Okay, anyway, so I'm trying to gain back my lights. I have a new problem. It's always a new problem with the stuff that I fix. I'm always creating new problems for myself. Where'd my chat go? There's chat. I'm always creating new problems, and the new problem today is that for some reason these devices, either on a power reset or maybe the DHCP pool expired and they tried to reissue or something, they're dead. Like, I can't get into them, and I get error connection timeouts on them. When I tell them to reset, they kind of reset, but then they don't work. So I can just walk over and reset the thing. Tasmota, command full reset. Cut power of the device. Okay, so the problem is for the track lights, for the burn the my automated burning board that we're going to work on in a little bit. I can't get to the plug. Can't get to it. So I don't know what to do. Reset. Commands, Tasmodo. Yeah, we're going to do more with the water cooling today. I need to make a pump mount, and then we need to plan out. I need to do some milling. With my mill is all trapezoidal right now, right? Everything is a trapezoid on that mill. But I need to do some milling in order to make a distribution block. The little distribution blocks that I have, the ones that I got from Alpha Cool, these aren't going to cut it. And since it's a block with holes in it, strategic holes and maybe a couple threads, I can make this. I can make something that's a different shape that does the distribution for the ins and the outs on our setup. So that's what I plan to do today. Yeah, it's called a magic arm with a nice gauge on it, which is sitting behind that bottle of Crystal Pepsi that's up on my shelf. That thing right there. That's our answer. It's just gonna take me a little while. So I just need to go through it a couple times. And also, the official way to do it is measure it and hit it with a hammer. Not the measurement device, but you hit the mill with a hammer until it's square. So, I'm looking at these commands. Hold on. IP address 1. MQTT client, I don't care about that. I'm trying to issue a reset, so. Mentions resetting firmware default. No, I don't want a firmware default. PWM dimmer only preset. That's not what I'm looking for. Friendly name reset, no. Reset syslog, no. 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 Reset device settings. Reset device settings to firmware defaults, but retain Wi-Fi credentials and restart. I don't want that. Stream can tie at any given time. No, 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 no. The track lights are connected to... Oh, I remember now. I have a 220 volt socket over there. I get 2 phases in the house. Both phases, 2 halves of the room, right? The one phase that, well, there is a 2-phase plug over there that gets its own wiring directly back to the breaker. The track lights are off of that. So I guess I could go over to the circuit breaker and reset the whole thing. But I would rather figure out a way for this thing to, oh, so not reset, but restart. Restart 2, halt system, needs hardware restart or power cycle to restart. I feel like they're in restart 2. 99. Force exception. Force a soft reset after freeze of 2 seconds. Force an OS watchdog reset after a freeze of 120 seconds. Caution! Which one do I want? I think I want restart -2. Or I could force an exception crash and have it restart. I don't know. Which one do I want to send to it? I mean, force restart device without a save. I'm going to try restart 99 just to be safe. Ah, yeah, nothing's going to happen, huh? This is the state of things. Is the command ever going to go through? I mean, it was able to load this web page. Really? This is getting a little crazy. What about you? Stand light. Absolutely not. I should also be getting statistics from this too. All right, I'm unplugging this one. I'm unplugging it. I can't do the track lights, but I'm unplugging this one and plugging it back in. Look at how quickly this thing will come back in and just be fine. Like I'll literally do it with that web page up. Blue lights flashing. Blue lights flashing. The test motor dies. Where's the plug? Oh god, I'm gonna electrocute myself. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, I just hit. Oh, there it is. Bam, it's back up. And I can toggle it, and it turns on. How stupid is that? I'm so mad. I don't know what is up with this, but like if I unplug it and plug it back in, it'll work. What's the whole point of the restart command if I can't do a full restart? Yeah, I would love to know state. Status, syslog, sunrise. Oh, weird. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. So I could actually set... Oh man, I should get my folks some of these things. Because they could have sunrise and sunset commands on it. Time standard, time zone. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff that Tasmoda devices can do. I just don't friggin' get it. Ooh, wow. Did I throw out my elbow? Neat. Sleeping on my arm's weird. I've been throwing out muscles. All right. He's dead. He's dead. He's so dead. He's completely dead. I can barely even get the main menu out of it. I don't even know how to send it any other commands like restart. So I guess we're just SOL today. Burn the subs, by the way, if you guys don't know. It's my automated laser etching table that's on my wall. I can go back to OBS. Where's OBS? Okay, there we go. I can go to burn the subs. And it's a little dark. Oh, good. Oh, good. Tasmoda is apparently my chatty window. That's nice. Or no, this is the 3D printer window. I see. What is that even doing up? All right, where is that? Not Streamlabs. Overlays. Not start soon. No. Not those. What are you? What are you, scene that's up in the... What are you? Highlight it. Highlight it for me. OBS. I don't know where it is. Oh, 3D print. There it is. Boop. Okay, cool. That's gone. All right. That's not a very flattering view of burn the subs. It let me get the music out of here. It's like super distracting. We'll just get started because I can't seem to win today. If I go, by the way, if I go to this scene, the spring arm scene, you can see that extra light coming in from over there. That is this light turning on and off automatically with the OBS scene. That was the whole purpose of what I was talking about before. All right, so base. Go over here. I'm a little discombobulated because my setup was fighting me at the beginning of today. So I don't know why that happens. I guess maybe we get little power glitches, or it might be more regular than that. I need to pay attention to when it's happening and figure out whether or not there was a power delivery event, or if it is in fact the DHCP expiring and for some reason rejecting the devices, because it is very annoying. I believe what's happening is that all the devices go down and they intermittently try to come up at about the same time, and so they're all polling my router at once, and my router's just like, whoa, you and you go away, and it just ignores them from then on. I don't know though. It seems like the device itself is the one having the problem and not the router, but if it is the router, I don't know where I would be able to look for that kind of a setting. I don't really think that the router is capable of doing that. I have had leftover Chinese food for lunch. I have over bolused for it. I think it might just be enough bolus, but I don't know where that scene is anymore with my glucose levels on it. I've got my publicly available glucose levels up on the screen. Just show them to you guys real quick over here. There they are. That website you could just go to and check. So if I pass out, you can check this site and see whether or not it was glucose related. I think I'll be okay because this will taper off, and then the cell phone glucose reading and pump commanding system will back off of insulin for a little while, and glucose level will climatize. It'll become normal again. I've had kind of a little bit of a rocky couple of weeks here, so it'll be nice for this thing to kind of, you know, chill the hell out and just give me decently normal glucose levels. I have that color blindness where it's difficult for me to see the difference between this green and this yellow. I think maybe most people have that, but like I can't tell that these are turning yellow. I think that green needs to be a little bit different. It's supposed to be green, yellow, red, but I don't see that. I just see green and red. Okay. So yeah, troubleshooting gone. Oh, you guys shouldn't look at that. And then node red I can close. Commands I can close. It's just a periodic, frustrating thing that I have to deal with. Now I've got to boot up Fusion 360, and this is always a trip. There's a chance that there was probably an update, and it'll completely just clobber my processor. So we're going to let that happen, and then I'll explain what we're doing today in more detail. Here we go. I now become... No, I'm okay. Okay. Hi. I want to offer promotion for your channel. Viewers, followers, bots. Is the account already banned? That's what I call honest advertising. They still have an account. Not for long as I click in. They're not even going to go live. You don't have any followers. If you don't have any followers, how am I going to actually trust you to be completely banned from my stream forever? How can I trust? Hey, you want to buy followers? Yeah, it seems to be working great for you right now, huh? And I'm sure they make a paycheck somehow, but can you believe, like, how would you feel about yourself if you bought viewers on social media in order to give yourself a little bit of a name? How shallow. How shallow. Shallow, shallow. Gonad had 40 people. I'm excited about that. I want Gonad to have all the viewers. That'd be awesome. Okay, so this is going to take forever to load in. Apparently it's not updating, which is always nice. I ran into a problem with this. If you guys are familiar with what this is, congratulations. If you're not, this is the plan for the control panel that's going to power what's called Burn the Subs. Burn the Subs is this block of wood that I have mounted to the wall behind me. I'm going to wait for Fusion's still figuring its stuff out. There's probably stutters in the video and stuff like that right now. Fusion will eventually catch up to the 21st century, and then we can continue on. Right now, I clicked something and nothing happened. Oh, we could do that, I guess. My network is not as good as I think it could be here. I've recently shared speed test results with my friends, and they're shocked at how slow, apparently, my network is. I need to do something about that, and I don't know what. Maybe someday in the near future, I'm going to just break it all down and put it all back together. But there's like, I don't know, I should be getting much greater internal network speeds as well as external speeds. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is. Once Fusion kind of loads in its stuff, it's a little better, but yeah, it's just not good. It's enough that I can stream and other people can use the internet at the same time. We've done multiple like webcast kind of days. So, all right. So if you guys don't know, Burn the Subs is a laser etching board, right? Laser etching board, and it's all controlled from these two rails that sit off to the left of the giant block of wood. So all this stuff has to mount on my wall. We got to make all of the different connections that are associated with the motors and the laser and all that stuff, and it all is going to run from a 3D printer controller so that when the Raspberry Pi logs on to the Twitch API and it gets an event which represents a subscription to my channel, that user's name, or that gift user's name, the giftee, not the gifter, will then get entered into a, I almost bit my tongue saying that, get entered into a database what contains a list of the subscribers to the stream. Now, that makes it kind of sound like you only get your name on the board once. You get your name on the board every single time money changes hands. So what'll happen is it will artistically apply the name to a masking of the board, create machine code to represent the movements that the laser has to make in order to create that name, and then start streaming them over to the 3D printer controller, and then Poopy McButtface, or whatever the hell Twitch name, whatever accursed Twitch name gets a sub to my channel, will then end up on the board. Let me turn the gain up on that a little bit so this looks normal. There we go, that's a little better. So that live edge board that is completely unlit at the moment because my Tasmoto devices are screwing with me. This live edge board has a laser trained on it, and we will be water cooling this laser because it's hilarious and it's the only part that will actually generate heat in this entire setup. Water cooled laser, blue laser, that's going to move itself around and it's going to burn the names slowly so that it's fun to look at onto this board, this expensive, thick, live edge board. Now we have a couple tasks ahead of us in order to get this right. First of all, I'm doing everything I can to do right by this whole setup. We've 3D printed a bunch of stuff for the carriage, so that's all, the hardware's all sorted. It can hold up the circuit board. It might get a little dusty, but I'm not gonna cover over everything. We can have exposed stuff. So that we've got all the mounts here for the stuff we need. We need to figure out water cooling the laser, so that's gonna take the form of me bending tubes. We tried to seal a 3D print so that it would hold water. It's like impossible to do. I can't figure that out with it looking good. So what we'll do is we'll bend tubes around the thing that's holding the laser, and then I'll make something that clips around or screws into that and holds it onto the front of the laser axis here. So that'll move around on its own accord. It's got its own motor and a little gear drive and all that fun stuff. Lighting. Let's see, we're converting this over to using bump stops, so I'll need to print out stuff that'll make bump stops. But then what we're working on right now is over here. Well, I can't show you, it's too close. It's on the other side of the, basically right next to the camera. There's a blank spot where the control panel goes. So I'm doing everything in my power to make this as good as possible and as organized as possible, so that when we go through software, everything will be in place and ready to test, and I can figure out how it all works, right? We can get it working to the best of our abilities, and then it'll look good on camera for a while. You know, that's been gone over a lot of times. Cool, instead of multiple copies of names, if it did an asterisk or something next to it to show months and years. The problem with that is that that'll take up space on the board. That'll take up space on the board. So if that takes up space on the board, I'll have a bunch of blank spots on the board. And so it'll be like, wait, that person only subbed once and they've got a big blank spot next to their name. People don't think about this. You know, because if I underline the names 7 times, then the names can't get close to one another. Or if I represent it as what, check marks or something, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Think your ideas through a little bit, chat. So anyway, here's what we were doing last time on Tuesday, and since then I've actually I've ordered a couple parts. Are we good? We're good here? Okay. I've ordered a couple parts. I don't think at all. Well, I've ordered a couple parts for the 3D printer and some other projects, but and a couple parts for this, because what I have sitting over here is a failure. This is a 3D model that I created to represent these distribution blocks that AlphaCool sells. Now, last time we worked on this here, the frame that is in gray. We worked on. We made a little frame that's going to hold up the radiator on the rails. So far, so good. Yeah, I don't like that concept. I don't like the concept of disincentivizing people who sub only once. I think that's kind of mean. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not me. So, printed it out, and it turned out pretty good. It's a little weak. I don't think it really needs to be that strong, though. I mean, that's pretty good. That doesn't really flex all that much, and that'll be able to just hold up the radiator, hold it out, hold a fan against it. One thing that I didn't show you guys is I actually had to make posts that would fit this fan. This is only held up by 2 screws because I don't want to push my luck with 4. There are 4mm posts, and then they have a 3mm hole in them. When we tried this on the computer power supply project to put a bunch of these 40mm fans on a computer power supply, that was of my own design. But anyway, we did a bunch of these 4mm posts, and they were hollow all the way through with 3mm. What that does is that creates a bunch of single filament like SpaghettiOs that are stacked up on top of one another. When you torque that with a screw, it just pops off. It's so weak because there's going to be parts where it doesn't quite adhere properly. So what I did is instead they're 8mm posts. I went up 5. I went up 5mm with solid material, and that way the 3D printer was filling in all that stuff, and that made a nice strong post so that if it breaks off, it hopefully can get a friction fit. But it turns out I was able to get the screws in there with like no torque. I'm not going to torque them down a lot. So that fan is there. It's not moving at all, but I don't want to press my luck with the little stacks of SpaghettiOs that are holding that screw in with pressure. It's good though. I mean, it holds it up. It's pretty nice. I could shake it a little bit. Yeah, it's not moving. So cool. Now this tryptophobic whatever I've removed. We don't have that now because I'm actually going to use this backing to mount stuff, and the tubes for this are going to go, okay, this is going to sit like this. The reservoir is right above it, and the wooden enclosure is going to be blocking this entire piece right here. So what's going to have to happen is tubes are going to go up and around and then down to the control panel. And I guess that'll give us a little wiggle room if I ever need to like remove this or move it around or something like that. Create a small pixel art for the length of subs that goes in front of the name like Twitch badges. But then you'll have like symbol name. Like if I put like a number in front of the name, then it's going to be 2, 3, 4, etc. Listen, chat. There's a lot of scope creep going on here. A lot of scope creep. That's going to kill the project more than anything else. My persistence in working on it has made this a multi-year project. Chat was sent here to test you. That's every stream. That's every streamer's chat. Yeah. I hold you guys in a slightly higher regard because we're doing something a little bit more cerebral than clicking on a screen all day. But you know, I got to discuss this with you. I'm not going to treat you like babies. Is the power supply project in your VODs? I'll go back and watch that. Oh man. That brings up another issue, is that I'm not hosting my archive. I have my archive. I need to host it. That project is not fully realized. We jump around with stuff, and there's only so much storage in Twitch. So I do need to spool up a VOD channel, but YouTube is scary. I don't think I can just dump all of my stuff onto YouTube. First of all, I'll lose subscribers at first. But then again, 3 streams a week for multiple years is going to be very difficult to upload. And then I have to go through footage of myself, and I have to like cut out intro music maybe, because I'll get for using audio frequencies, I'll get copyright strikes. I'll have to make just a little intro splash and then go right into my post start soon thing, which I don't want to do. I don't know if the music that I have is going to go under the radar. So it's a lot of miss. Wanted to see you mention I should get a YouTube before I enjoy your content a lot because of the work I miss a lot. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I do have 2 YouTube videos on Burn the Subs, but nothing else. I was thinking of like, I could do project videos, and then I'm too much of a perfectionist when it comes to the video itself, and I'll end up working on it until I'm blue in the face. That was back before I had a dog. Now I have a dog, so I have to divvy my time among that. If I take like a month off, maybe I can figure out how to cut up the content. The only problem is, you know, other creators are like, I hire an editor and they do it, and it doesn't take them long. It's like, well, I could hire an editor, but I don't think I have the money for it. So hope Will's recovering well. She's off the cone. She doesn't have the cone anymore, at least during the day. We put it on at night. I don't know if she'll get it on tonight. She doesn't appear to be going after her stitches, and she's back to her normal self, except the cone has pushed one of her ears. So one of her ears kind of droopy. but it'll pop back up. Project how-to videos, your approach to a lot of this is helpful. Oh, glad. I mean, usually my approach to it is dive into it and then fail. Fail until you succeed. Sometimes throwing money at things. I'm a little pissed off about this too, because these blocks were supposed to be the solution to distributing all of the little 1/8 of an inch tubes so that I could get cooling down here and into things, including all the way down and into the laser with these little disconnects that I have here. So if I ever need to unplug something and you know, work on the gantry, I can unplug these and they'll successfully allow me to, they'll cut off the flow of water so this thing doesn't bleed out. So the inlet to the pump will be right here, which means there will probably be a tube from this fitting to this right here. That should be fine. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a mess in this area, but that's the inlet to the pump, right? So then the impeller then throws all the liquid out to the walls, and it flies out of this tube right here. This one's an overly long tube fitting. Can't do anything about that. This should have some kind of a thinner manifold on it. So something like this size tube onto a block with 4 fittings on it. And I'll probably use 3 out of the 4, so I'll probably have to block one off. Unless I send water all the way down to the power supply. Ugh. It would be laser, motor controller, Raspberry Pi, power supply. So all 4 of the elements of this thing would be water cooled. That seems a little crazy. But anyway, I mean, all it would take is putting like a block down here. Just something to bleed off a little bit of the heat, or a tube. So anyway, I have to consider how I'm going to do this. These blocks, I don't think I'm going to be able to swing them in this area, especially considering the routing of tubing that I have to do. I have to get a tube from up here into one of these, and then I have to get this one into one of these. And I guess the only way that I could see myself making it work is if I could get the tube to go out and around the okay. If we can make this work with these blocks, that means I don't have to do any machining. I was thinking that I could make something that was like a square piece of aluminum that I would then put a smaller fitting on, and I've already bought supplies for this. I was going to use lure locks in order to create these connections. Really? Twitch ate my 31-month message and notification. Are you sure? I thought I saw one. Hold on. Anyway, let me see. I can go through Streamlabs. Oh. Hello? Hello? Streamlabs? Are you there? There it is. Go ahead, mesh Twitch, blah, 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 blah. I thought I saw one recently from, maybe I was confusing you with Mahalo, as usual. Ecotronics. Let's Control F. My age is nothing. Yeah, okay, so it did eat your message. I'm sorry about that. Well, thank you for the 31 months. I accept the blame. Hey, actually, that's worse than usual. Usually, if 2 users have similar, like, first 2 letters or even first letter, and they have a similarly colored name in what I'm looking at, because I use the visible colors thing, because people like to make their name all in white, and then you can't see it on the bright background, or all in the same gray as the dark theme. I don't like that. So I use visible colors, so Twitch kind of decides what color your screen names end up at. So if 2 users are the same color and they have the same front letter of the name, my brain will just like work too quickly and I won't say the right name. So the problem I'm having right now is that the pump and the fan cannot share the same space, and the distribution blocks cannot stack vertically in order to fit the fan. And that is true of this as well. So we've got this whole setup here, and if I were to try to stack these from the ceiling, 1, 2, they fit, but they only fit in the area where the fan isn't. Okay, hold on. Let's get a little closer here and Maybe we can just ignore the way that I live. I have a feeling like other streamers open up, like they'll see me like hanging out in their stream. I'll be like, who the hell is this fucking guy? And they'll finish stream and they have a cup of coffee and they open up my stream and they see this chaos and they go, you live like this? And then never ever again will they ever even consider anything about me. It's bad. It's a bad scene. It's a bad impression. By the way, I got the blocks. Now I have more of these than I could ever want. So at some point I'll have to cut 2 of these off and then bolt it to the rail and then put the bed wire into this. I don't know if other 3D printers consider this problem, but apparently for me it's a problem where the bed moves in a particular way and it flexes the cable, the heater cable for the bed in a particular way. And the heater cable for the bed is made out of a type of metal that is really not designed to be flexed. It's made very carefully to withstand heat and not be specifically flexed. So I had to change the cable around to a different type. Mine's neater than most. It's a common problem because eventually, like, I'm running 120 volts, so it's all exacerbated. So as soon as 1 or 2 of them break, the other ones will then follow suit because they're hotter. So what I did is I have terminals on either end of the drag chain, and then these terminals I'm hooking up to the highly flexible silicon jacketed wire, which can take the 120 volts and it can protect it in a hot environment, even though that's not a hot environment, but it'll be able to flex a lot more. So yours is neater than most. I don't know, man. It's at a cost of me constantly neating up. I'm neating up, folks. I'm going neat. Technically, I'm in education, so I guess I'm not neat at all. I once played, many years ago, played the Star Citizen demo late at night, and I was accused of being a neat. I was like, where's this coming from? Like, what are you basing this on? Absolutely nothing? Not in education, engineering, or what? Technology? I don't know, man. I have to redo connections on 3 printers, changed all the terminal connections. I didn't even know it was a common thing. I didn't know that was common. I just kind of acted in a way that I felt was appropriate for what needed to be done. Because it's like, oh, this broke, I need to fix it. So if I do one here and then one next to it, can I get the cables into it? Can I get the, cables. Can I get the tubes into it? That's sort of where this stemmed from, is where am I going to put this stuff in order to get it to appropriately connect? And the neater it is, the better it is. And I mean, any AT. So what I can do is I can get away with a little bit of fudging of the dimension. This is the wires coming off of these things are the most annoying part about physically laying this out. I can do this like this, like do the pump up the way I had it in the drawing, and that way the, okay, can I get this on the table? Maybe I can lay this whole thing down and we can work with it like that. That'll be good. Let's try that. Let's try laying this whole thing down. Lay me down. I don't have the maker beam connections in here to do this, but yeah, I really didn't know that that was a common thing. But mine was failing once every, like, I don't know. It took a couple of years for the first failure, but then I tweeted about it, and that was like months ago, and I did my little fix to it, which was just cutting it and soldering it, and the cut and the solder ended up creating flat spots that then didn't flex, and then those non-flexy spots are what made it break again. Is that going to be a little restricted? I'll make it fit. I should probably extend the dimensions of the cross beams just by a little bit. By like a millimeter. Yeah. Yep. Let's see if we can do that painlessly in Fusion. Let me get my mouse back. Hold on, my mouse won't. I don't have my mouse pad. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So I'm having trouble fitting this thing onto the rails, which typically is not a thing that happens in this model, but because, oh God, because we're relying on 3D printed material to go in between these things, there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. So if I can bust out one of these by a couple, maybe a millimeter would be almost too much. Maybe I can then automatically just suddenly have enough room for everything. Let's see what we can do with that. That's going to be kind of difficult. Now, remember, I based a lot of these holes off of models of the thing. Sorry, let me just finish putting this into the corner for the... I really need to work on my 2 monitor setup. I just keep talking about this, but I need to put both monitors up on the desk so that they're I can get my video monitor window at the same time as I'm looking at this stuff. All right, so what we're looking at here is the side of the control panel, and we're looking at the part that's going to hold the radiator. So I want a lot of open and clear space in this spot, and I also want things to be relatively flat on here. I mean, I know there's kind of a cascade of things. I could try to move this reservoir down, but that would actually collide. Yeah, that would mean I wouldn't have room for the water cooling fittings below. Those fittings are a little bit big, and I'm not going to spend the money on low profile fittings. I did that for the computer project. It's too expensive. I might put a cowl on the front of this thing just to protect the radiator fins. And honestly, I could do 2 low profile fans on the front of this thing, and it would probably look a little bit more intentional and functional. But I just don't think that is necessary. I don't think that's necessary. We're going to barely need airflow through this water cooling setup as it is. And again, why did you choose these specific components, Bother? This is just stuff that I had. So I'm working within the means of things that I've already got in the shop. The other radiators that I have are much larger. This one was meant for a different project. I think I've had it for more than 5 years. So it's nice to be able to use this stuff. So we're just going to use the stuff that I have. There's a degree of that in this project that I like. You know, I might move this up a little bit because I'm going to be reprinting these parts down here. So maybe I'll move up the control panel so that that's even with this radiator. And then this height was determined by if I put a big fan on the front of this thing, how tall is that going to be? So that's sort of where we are with this. I might make a front cover for this and maybe try to like put a frame over it just so that it's protected from like being bumped into. And then the whole control panel will be the same height, but it's not really necessary right now, so I'm not going to totally concentrate on it. Anyway, let's try to bump this out a little bit. I guess what dimension can I bump it out in? This one. This is the one that I can bump out. So if I bump this forward a little bit, I should have a pretty good fit from it. It should be like less than a millimeter. Let's see what the steps were to create this thing. I mean, I started with this end. Oh, okay, wait, what's going on? Hello? So I gotta click on the thing. Sometimes Fusion with this drawing, this whole setup is completely cursed. This has been sort of like a flow of ideas design. I think I want to, in the near future, and I don't know when I'm going to find time for this, spend the time to try to spin out sub-assemblies out of these things. This should be 4 separate components. This should be the reservoir and the mounts, the radiator, the mounts with the pumps and the fans, the control panel with all of its little accoutrements, and then the power supply with all of its stuff. It should be 4 disparate files in my system. Instead, it's 1, and they're all just a mess like this. So, and I guess this is what happens if you design something this comprehensive in the free version of Fusion 360, because they will limit the number of files, I guess, that you have. I know Shortlurker knows more about this. I haven't been able to play with that version of the software. I got the educational version. Educational version is just like, here's everything, good luck. I'm like, wait, I don't need everything. Okay, so let's do the fitment issue first. So we started off with this sketch. Where is it? Yeah, we started off with this sketch actually on this side. So can I take a sketch and can I offset it? I don't think I can. And the way that I could technically do it is by moving these components out a little bit. Or sorry, if I could move this rail, right? I could go all the way back to this step and I can move this rail 1 millimeter to the right. That might break some stuff. Especially over here. It's going to break some stuff, I think. Technically, I should have designed everything so that it was able to deal with that. So let's see what breaks if I move that rail 1 millimeter to the right. Go all the way back to the beginning of the drawing. All the way back. Now, some of these components here were positioned based on where that rail is. And it's going to mess up things like this that do meet up to the right position. I don't know how does that meet up to the right position, yet this doesn't. I guess just that having the 3D printed piece there it makes it slightly shrink. Okay, here's what I can do. So we create, that's not the one I want. We create the solid, move in the solid here. First extrusion, 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 chamfer, 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 chamfer. What's that push-pull? That's just for that dimension over there. Did I bring that back, or is that always gone? Wait, how did I push-pull over there if I'm extruding? I guess it would be this one and this one are to create that thing. That one creates that one. So after this, all right, let's roll the history marker back here. And then if I take this and I move it, oh boy, this is gonna break so much stuff. Move object bodies. Go from that corner. -1. Really, it should probably be -0.5, but I'll make it -1. And then I will go and see what breaks. Ah, so this didn't meet up object to object, so that's still going to be a problem. I mean, maybe the fit is just that tight. Maybe I can just... Let me make sure this is an actual problem. The other thing I could do is I could extend this out and clip it just slightly. I could clip them into one another. That'll be a little bit of a problem, but there's just so much going on in that drawing. All right, so I have a beam right there that's determining what this distance is, and then these are messing up slightly, probably because of shrinkage. Let's I'm gonna do some measurement and just make sure that I know where the problem is specifically, that it is measurement, or that it is, sorry, that it is shrinkage. Shrinkage. So I got 12.06, 12.07, almost 13 millimeters, 12.06, and I'm gonna guess that when I look at this thing, that's gonna be 12. Here. 120? Wait, huh? Oh yeah, 120.6. Okay. I'm smart. Shut up. 120 point, almost 121. There's a little bit of like a little bit of space right there. I wonder if maybe I just pinch it, like loosen the fasteners and pinch it, if that'll bring it back to where it actually is supposed to be. That's a strange problem to have. That means I have to undo, well, not that many. Okay. I put plastic nuts on this thing so it wouldn't scratch up my table. Because this will sit against just a piece of like corrugated plastic that'll take the extra dimension, and then that screw will hold up the rest of this. Stupid plastic fastener or whatever. How do I get that out? Help. Help. Well, it's plastic. It's not going to go anywhere. I need like a long... Yeah, I need like a long bolt that it's gonna, oh, here's one. There's some stuff that we need to like remove from previous design iterations. What laser are we making? It's a laser etching table that sits on my wall and etches the names of subscribers upon itself. It's the third version of this project, and we're trying to do everything right. I've got like a pretty extensive set of CAD models representing everything in this project. Having a little trouble right now with the fitment issue, meaning my 3D printed, you can see here actually, you can see that nothing here is 3D printed from one side to the other, right? Nothing is determining the width of these rails via 3D print. It's all something else connected to the 3D print, and that's got a little wiggle room. This thing has feet on it. Those can be kind of like a little discombobulated. Those holes have a little tolerance in them. This thing is bolted, and it can tilt a little bit in order to make up for like 0.5 millimeter. Whereas this thing that we just designed to hold the radiator does not have that ability. It's got two horizontal expanses that hold up the things that are supposed to clip or, well, fit to the rails. Because I wanted to have the ability to loosen these things and move them up and down from the side of the rail instead of having to get to, like, for instance, this one, I'd have to remove the screen and then I'd be able to get to that. So normal guide was not enough. What do you mean, normal guide? What if follow a tutorial for somebody who's already made something like this? Is that what you're suggesting I do? I'm just going to loosen the bottom ones and see if I can tighten it. Is there like a tutorial online that I should be following in order to create a burn the subs? Is that exists? It's somewhere out there? Like a how-to? Step 4. Order the part. I just order one off of Amazon, right? I just straight up order one of these off of Amazon. They got those now, right? Some no-name company sells burns the subs. The rails are Maker Beam. I like Maker Beam. It's good stuff. Looks like our calculations for where the fronts of these things is off by a little bit. Well, also this is distorting in weird ways too, just because these screws are kind of pulling in pretty hard. That is centered, at least. I've got that going on for me. Yeah, just a little bit. They're just a little bit crazy. It's pretty good though. If I tighten them up on the spot, I mean, I could always put like a shim in there or something. I don't want to have to be able. I don't want to have to do that. I'd rather these be a little bit more even out here, and then I'd have this fit better. Oh yeah, it looks like even this is having trouble with fitment. The reservoir screws into 4 little rubber pieces, so this has a little wiggle room there. Okay, so that's where the reservoir's sitting. It's going to sit like that. I probably should correct this problem. What am I doing? I'm going to this one. So how do I correct this problem? I was doing this from point to point on the rails. It seems like the rails are a little bit off. If I move this rail, that's like the first step in the entire drawing. There are things that are going to break that I can't even anticipate with this. It will be a complete and utter shit show if I try doing that. Not to mention the fact that things that were not based on specific positions of things are going to go all over the place. So I don't think that's a good idea. I could try it, but then we're going to see new and unique failures that we have never seen before. So I'll go into this step right here where I've inserted all of my solids for the initial design, and then I go to position this thing. Nothing's happening. Maybe I can't edit the step because it's too far. It's too far in the past. Oh no, I had that open. Okay, open this up. We'll see what we got. Ugh. This is where it all started. I'd really like to move that up just a little bit. So I'm going to move them both over by 0.2 millimeter. They're both going to go, they're going to go right and left by 0.2 millimeter. Negative 0.2. .2. Okay, here we go. So now, technically, it may still be a little bit of a friction fit. There are all kinds of things that I need to reprint on this entire design. So we'll see what that does. We'll see what effect that has. And we may need to go through the timeline of the design and sort of sort out all of the different areas that have been affected by this. There'll be all kinds of broken steps along the way. I'm doing it symmetrically so it doesn't break absolutely everything. 2 warnings. It's not so bad. What are those for? Project source is lost. Edge 1 is missing. That's for sketch 19. Where were you sourced from then? That's the one that holds the... I don't think I can fix that one. What about extrude 61? Which one is extrude 61? Buddy? 2 reference failures. Face 1 and 2 are missing. Oh, it's probably to do with this then. It doesn't look like I'm using extrude. I'm not using this one. Which one are we extruding? Something is going that way. Which extrude are you? Huh. Wired. They still have the posts in here? Yeah, the posts are still in there. These little guys right here. What about the holes in the posts? I can't see them. Are they safe? Are they okay? Yeah, they're fine. I don't remember what extrude that was. I don't know you. Okay, well, cool. I guess. Cancel. Oh, wait, does that one bridge? That's bridged over there. How about over here? No, that's bridged on both sides. That one there, and then this one over here. That's good. Those are stumpy in order to avoid these fittings. I don't know what extrude just got lost. Something just got lost, and I don't know what. I don't know what extrude it was. Something got extruded, but didn't extrude. Everything else was fine, except for the one sketch that's missing a reference. That's just going to have to deal with it. Yeah, everything's here. I don't know what happened. Frankly, I don't know what happened. You'll figure it out eventually. Oh God. Yeah, I don't see where it was. I don't see what happened. I tweaked something in order to make something better. I don't know. Okay, I'll just delete it then. I'll delete it because I want to arrange things a little bit more. Apparently, this is not actually the height that I thought it was. Oddly enough. It needs to go like 2 millimeters forward if I'm going to. But the problem is, like, Does that mean the dimensions on the part that I created was wrong? Probably. That's probably what that means. Yeah, just leave it alone. It's off by like a millimeter or two. I guess it's more even with the bolts on the front of the reservoir. Maybe that's what did I measure it from the bolts? I don't think I did. It just creates like a little lip right there that I don't like. That's all right though. It'll make itself known and then assert its dominance. Oh God. I don't remember where I based this sketch off of. If I can move all of these components up just a little bit, because I have to do a little bit of redesigning on this part, on the base plate, because I want to have plastic standoffs that go all the way up to the different components. I don't want to have to find metal standoffs. I'll have plastic that goes all the way up to the stuff, and then I can use that. That'll be easier, and then I don't have to sift through all of my hardware in order to get things to be at the right height. So we've left space on the like above and below this stuff. This is an unsolvable problem. I think I will need to just solder to the back of these things. We don't actually have a bed heater. We have a TTL signal going to a laser. So actually, I might not need any of these. I will need the 24-volt connection for the motors, and I think that's this one. So we might actually get away with this. A laser distance sensor would be a neat thing to add to this. Then the laser could focus itself. Oh no, I don't want to think about that right now. That's scope creep. Anyway, we're working on this system right here. This is the area that we're going to be doing the water cooling. And I've now made it so that the distance from this piece, well, yeah, distance from this piece to this piece over here is 120.4. So because most of our sketches are based on the positions of these rails, at least initially, we can, and the extrusions for these parts are based on where the rail is, moving that moved everything 0.2 out, except for that. God damn it. Hey, Retro CRT, thank you for 21 months. Appreciate that. Son of a bitch. See, the only problem is sketch 19 isn't going to move, so maybe I just leave this alone. Maybe I just leave this part alone and I just kind of ignore the rest of it, because sketch 19 has to do with the this panel right here. We put a lot of love and care into. We put a lot of work into this panel. Moving it out by 0.2 millimeter in both directions might not be a great idea, because some of the components in it are floating now. We have a whole circuit board that we need to work on in a little bit. So I don't let sleeping dogs lie, and maybe we just forget about this little discrepancy right here, this little 0.1 millimeter move to the side. I hate to do that, but it'll make this stuff fit a little bit nicer. This fits just fine the way it is. I do think it could have actually benefited from being moved over a little bit. I mean, I could move it after the fact. I could move it after the design all the way out here, and I don't think it'll affect anything, because none of the measurements really depend. There are some actually hole dimensions, the vertical hole dimensions, that will depend on. Those will move in a little bit if this moves out, which I guess is good, because I think I did have a struggle. All right, fine. I got to do it. I got to do it. The question is, what does this break? Oh boy. That's all those positions, huh? That's all the way out there, and that's not based on any of this stuff. So I might have to move all of these components individually in order to get this right. That's the circuit board too. Oh man. I hope you're working on anti-gravity. Everything else is a waste of precious time. I like to live an enriched life where I decide what I work on, I guess. I don't know. It seems like it's out of scope for this stream. All right, double click on this. Let's get into here. Hello? Step where we're moving everything. You, this one. We have to move all these components individually. There's no way around it. A lot of the dimensions that we're going to be dealing with have to do with where these things are just sitting in space. So it's fine though, because we have a very easy to move thing. So we're just going to move this this, and where is that? Where is my circuit breaker? We have an entire circuit breaker in this thing, which is a little bit crazy, but you know, it's what I did. That's what I decided to do. Where is it? There it is. These three, we're gonna move them. So right click, move. If I were to click on these individually, it might select like move something else, or it might even move like an individual component of the full assembly. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do 0. Well, we moved them both 0.2, sorry. So it's 0.2 in either direction. So we want to go 0.2 out on that one. If I move those 0.2 and I move this point, yeah, okay. So now we go to the other one. You are treating technology as something that mankind works on like an RTS, right? That's not how that works. All kinds of people work on all kinds of stuff all the time. You can't concentrate your efforts like that. All right, there, and there. And then why didn't those select? What's going on here? You and you. What is that? Don't need that. Don't need that. That one actually should have moved to the rest of them, but I'm not so concerned. And then I'm going to move those. Right click. Click move, copy. I'm going to move them towards me, which will be not 5 millimeters. I'm going to move them 0.2. Okay, we're committing to this moving of everything because I'm going to have to, I don't know how much stuff I'm going to reprint, to be honest. I don't know how much of this stuff I'm going to reprint. But if I do respool, for instance, this panel, it'll help me out a little bit. Well, let's see how much I broke it by doing that. Still the same warning, so that's good. Yeah, those things are still poking out a little bit. But now, if I go into the step where I actually move in, the flat pack's okay where it is. I hope that's not going to be based on like one position of the rail. Where else do we have? This one here. That's the latches. Like I said, this drawing is a mess. There's all kinds of stuff that shouldn't be where it is. I don't know where I'm creating the additional rails. I just basically extended the rails downwards so that I have room. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, we know what gravity waves are. Everybody stop what you're doing and work on what this guy says to work on. Like, that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. That's not how the world works. Oh my God. Wouldn't that be more like a unified theory thing? Being able to figure out how gravity works. I mean, we know so much about electricity and magnetism, but it's a little bit weirder how gravity specifically works. I mean, it takes an entire planet of mass in order to barely even hold us down. We can jump. I can do this, and I can defy that force. So, all right, let's see. So we're going to do this thing. What's this? Move it. Moving it this distance. Negative 0.2. Let me go to this one. The only problem is that when I go into the step, these rails are here. I don't know if this is going to work. Someone's going to move this way. 0.2. What did I base the rails off of then? Huh. Oh, wait, that's asking for a position capture. What the hell? No. Control Z. Let's go back. Gotta go back. This would be after I moved this stuff. So I finished that position. I gotta actually find the step where I mess with these two, and then that would be the same one as the power supplies being locked into place. So I go back to 1, 2, and then there's the rails. So we go back into this step. We didn't enter into this step. That was the problem. So I need to enter into this step, which because this thing is working a little bit slow. Come on, buddy. There we go. Okay, so now we're in this step. See, now none of the bodies that I've created are here. Now, hopefully, Sketch 19 doesn't betray us, because wherever Sketch 19 is based off of, I suppose, must have disappeared in the drawing, and it doesn't know where Sketch 19 is supposed to be. So the distances that are moved or extruded from in Sketch 19, I don't know how to fix that. So move copy. This one. This way. Negative 0.2. Okay. All right. Over to this one. Careful. Careful. Positive 0.2. I like to use the arrows to drag things so that you know what axis you're actually working on. Fusion can tend to be a little weird with the X, Y's, and the Z's. Finish position. Now everything breaks. Everything explodes, and all of my designs just deteriorate into nothing because I didn't expect to be doing this. And I should have known all along. I should have been a time traveler. Huh? Did it work? I'm going to measure this line. Come on. There we go. To this line. What? Huh? 120.3? Did I move one of them 0.1? I think I moved one of them 0.1. Hold on a sec. Which one? Which one did I do? Did I move it 0.1? Is it you? No, it's not that one. Did I move one of them 0.1? I must have. I must have. I must have. Did I not? So then we have to look at the subsequent steps to make sure. Measure this to this. 0. Let's go over to the other side. Clearly they... honestly, I think it's thinking about science like this is StarCraft or like Factorio, and we need to get the right amount of beakers into the building in order to get it to develop the next step, and we haven't clicked on the thing that tell us that we need to develop that. We need to click on that thing, and then all of our research all at once as humanity will go towards that development. That's not how that works. They're even. Which one's clipping? It's this one. So this one is clipping by 0.1 millimeter. How does that even work? I must have, in one of the steps, I must have used a manual offset, but I don't recall doing that. I would have gone to object, and the object would have been this thing. Unless I clicked on like this line down here, the line that's after the chamfer, but that doesn't appear. Does that even up right there? I can't get close enough. Yeah, that doesn't even match up. How's it off by 0.1? That's so weird. That's so weird. So now I have to reverse engineer my own efforts. Does that meet up all right? Those should be even with each other on the top. And it looks like they are. Wait a minute. That one's sticking up a little bit. What the heck? Oh my God. That means that the internal stuff didn't move, and that's probably part of Sketch 19's problem. So Sketch 19 internal by 0.2 millimeter. It's not. It's actually on the right plane. So that should be okay. So why didn't the stuff move? Maybe there's another anchor step there's another anchor step that moves this in. No, that's with everything else. Should have moved 0.2 in. What is that? That vertical, what is that piece on the right of it? Weird.
what we're doing is we're working with a timeline right now so that I can move the rails outward, because I discovered that it's a little hard to get the new printed solids to fit. There have been no printed solids going from rail to rail. And now that I have printed solids going from rail to rail, I'm realizing a mistake that I had very early on in the drawing, which was that the rails weren't exactly true to form. They were precisely the distance if you measured it by using the size of the rails that you ordered. So I ordered a certain size rail, and there's 10 millimeter on either end, and that's the dimension. Well, that's not the way the real world works. There's a little bit of distance in there for stuff, dirt, whatever. And so there's a little bit of an error in that. And so I've now put it in to the overall drawing, and I'm not sure, so much work has been done on this stuff. I'm not sure if that has caused other problems, if I've used other dimensions to measure out where holes should be. Because generally when I'm building solids, I'm making like bracketry kind of stuff, like brackets that are supposed to hold stuff together. And that means getting a representation of the thing in the real world that has all the holes in it in the right place, and then moving those within one another, and then basing the holes and the you know, the openings on those physical things, so that if I go back into the step where I positioned it and move it, it will move with everything else. Just so long as I don't create impossibilities, like moving something too far will cause issues. This thing, for instance, should have been moved based on the location of the rail. So I don't know why that didn't move with everything else. Probably because it was locked down in one of these steps where the components are locked down. So like right there, I could go back into this step, and the software might complain a little bit. But then if I take, well, I think this is just one big solid. I had to create this part. So if I take this and I move it here, 0.2. This shouldn't even be in the drawing because I'm not using that anymore. What this? I moved in the wrong direction. Move this thing. Oh yeah, that's definitely, oh no, it actually is, never mind, sorry. I thought it was a messed up axis, so I want to move it this way. And now that doesn't clip. I click finish position. Nothing was based on this location, so nothing moves and nothing changes, but it's going to go through all the different steps that I did, and it's going to compute out where everything should go. Sketch 19, I don't think I have any fix for that. It didn't break anything. Oh, look at that. There's still a gap. Is that clipping in? It is. Ah, that's annoying. Let's see, that sketch started from there. Okay, so that's that part. This, that part. This, there it is. How did I start this? I started this based on an arbitrary location, didn't I? But what would I have clicked in order to create whatever object it was is gone? It was the original iteration. It was actually the side of this thing. And I should have extruded it to solids. I think I extruded it distances, maybe? Because if we measure this, that's not what I wanted to measure. I wanted to measure this thing right here. 2.84. So yeah, it should have been extruded to this object, which means there's going to be, like for this, now it's really for something like this, there should be an extrusion associated with, that's the chamfer step. So then this would be, that's extruding those from thing to thing. That one does the holes. So is there an initial, oh my God, where is this? What is this coming from? What the heck? But with the rail moved, this shouldn't clip. It shouldn't be a specific distance. And yet each one is clipping by like a 0.5 millimeter. So if I take that one, that's -10. And that's already there. So where are we? I just need to find the steps where the stuff happened, basically. There. So we're working on that one. Then chamfer, do a little copying, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little mirroring. Come over to here. That's where I place these rails in. And these rails should be 120.4 apart. Let me just verify. I mean, we already verified that they're directly on top of one another. I just want to make sure. Actually, we already know that. That's fine. We already know that. 120.4 apart. We're like fixing the drawing right now. This is like all the stuff that I did wrong. I'm getting like an audit right now. So that's where we position the power supplies, and I do all the copies and stuff like that. So I have this outer dimension, which is where I want this to fall down from. It just happens to be very, very closely dimensioned to the box that I had sitting in storage. Oh my God, why is, oh, everything's so slow. Close, but not exact, but it is very close to that dimension. So I'm working within, you know, I might as well just have it cut off a little bit sooner, and that way this is a little bit neater. So let's see, from there, I have, I make a sketch there for some reason. Oh, that sketch is in order to create the holes for the power supply, because it's not an exact representation. This is the one, each of these are like half of the width approximately. So I had to do a measurement from the actual power supply, and I made a sketch to help that out. So the solids are based on that sketch, but then where, make that sketch, then I do this one. And I did some projections from that other sketch, but why would that then not extrude to that? I must have done a measure instead of a to object in order to do the feats. So back here I did that, and then there I did the feats. All right, there's that. That's the step I wanted. Why is that -10? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I went down from above. Oh, I went down -10 instead of, why would I do that? That's silly. Why would I do that? So let's look at that sketch. Maybe that's the problem. And then those are in the way. Get them out of the way. Okay, so then the projection should have moved with everything else, because I project all the lines in here, right? There's the projection. And then that's located on that. And then here's this projection. And that's centered. That should move with everything else. This projection should have moved as well, even though it's off by a little bit. What the fuck? Wait, no, this is from the power supply, right? And the rail should be moved over a little bit too. Is this just a problem that existed before that I didn't know about? That might be, it might actually have always been wrong. Yeah, measured up 10. Oh, but not based on the position of the rail. Why is the position of the rail bad right now? It's actually in the wrong place. Interesting. How did the projections not move? Or why is this back? Is this back in its original location? We can inspect it while in this step. I didn't expect to be doing this today. I expected to be doing something a little bit different. Now we're just here chasing demons. 120.35? Why is that weird? Why is the rail-to-rail distance 120.35? That does not make any sense. And I measured that to make sure that my rails were in the proper positions. So did I moved everything 0.2. It was 0.2 and 0.2. That's 0.4, not 0.35. But then for some reason, this drawing is just a little bit off in its projections. When I look at the projected lines, they're in the right spot. But when I look at the rails, they're in the wrong spot. But when I measure it, it's fine. Oh my God. This is wild. I don't get what I did. The 0.35 demon. It's one of those things. Oh God, looking at things in orthogonal view is like the most jarring thing ever. This is not how 3 dimensions work. If we can figure this out, then we can figure out gravity control, I guess, or something. I don't know, man. You're asking somebody who can't even get the outer dimensions of his own project correct to look at something like gravity control? Just a wild fucking assumption. What else could be causing the problem? Is there some other like locked dimension here that I'm not considering? I've projected a lot of dots and points from the power supplies into here, including points from the rails, so that this should get a little bit less thick. Less thickness of the sickness. The power supply was moved in. It should be based on the outer dimensions of the flat pack, and maybe that's what moved. Because I should have gotten some kind of like a center out of this. Or maybe I was basing it on origin. But things are projected into this one, so... All right, I'm going to finish that sketch. We're going to go to the previous one. Well, this is what brought those in, right? This should be what brought them in. This is getting complicated, and I hate it. It's getting complicated, and I hate it. Oh, the stream dropped out? I don't... what's my bitrate look like? Bitrate looks okay here. OBS says no dropped frames, so... I don't know what could have caused that stream dropout. If I lose stream, I'm going to be kind of pissed off, but I'll go on with my day. Oh yeah, wait, was that Twitch account banned already? Yep, it's gone. They last for like one message and then they're gone. Glucose level's looking good. Is Amazon having an oopsie poopsie again? That's annoying. That is very annoying. So the problem that I'm having right now is that I don't know if I based the position of this stuff off of the center of these 2 rails. And the 2 rails I've moved because originally I didn't take a measurement. I said this rail, this cross beam, that I actually don't have a cross beam in here. I said each rail is 10 millimeters and the cross beam is 100 millimeters. So they're 120 millimeters apart from end to end. I said, cool, done, right? And so then I finally have a part on this rail system that connects the 2 sides. So I finally have a 3D printed solid that I'm printing out in order to connect one side to the other. And now I've discovered that they're actually a little bit closer to 120.5. There's a little bit of wiggle room in here just because of construction. And that's causing problems with everything. It's a little bit due to the 3D print shrinking and a little bit due to this and that and the other thing. There's all kinds of things like that that just happen. So what I've done is I've moved the rails 0.2 millimeter in either direction. And what that net result is that for some reason, the inside edge of these tabs that are supposed to hold this thing to the rails are 0.05 millimeters off. And that's weird, and I need to correct that. For instance, like there shouldn't be a gap right there. This should come out and meet this piece. I think maybe the sketch was based on this dimension here, which is fine. But having moved that stuff out, the whole solid should probably move out. So it would behoove me to somehow reattach the sketch to this solid here. With this side, I can actually correct that. With this side, I can actually go to the extrusions that are associated with it, and I can base it on this dimension, not this dimension. So that should be easy enough to do, hopefully. It's just my initial creation of the solids was a little weird. Looks like a train. Yeah, I guess you could see it as a train. It'll be a steam engine. Okay, so I need to find where I'm creating. We can correct this one first, at least. And we could just base it off of the rails instead of off of the solids on it. So we need to find this. which will highlight it in the timeline. There it is. There's a press pull. Huh? Oh, because I press pulled the end. Well, we don't need to worry about that specifically. I'm looking at where I create the actual frame. Somewhere? Hello? No. 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 Okay, so here's where I'm working on that stuff. This stuff is all messed up. We've got to figure that one out. And then there's that one. That one. That one. We're getting there. That one. That one. Those are my two little mounting holes. Here it is. So this goes from the outside object in, which is a problem. No, this is actually what's called burn the subs, and it's a XY table that's going to be controlled by a 3D printer controller and clipper, and it's designed to connect to the Twitch API and burn the names of subscribers to a big board on my wall. Exhibit right. So yeah, big live edge board, which is currently sitting behind me, and that is going to have the names of subscribers burnt onto it with a blue laser. I seen someone do that. Yeah, it's me. I'm the one. I have two other versions of the board. Two other versions of the board. We're just putting our best foot forward and trying to design some nice 3D printed solids in order to create everything. And for some reason, I'm screwing it up. I screwed it up. Like, irregardless of this thing going in 10 millimeters, I still should not have this cut a 0.5 millimeter here. This is just because of the way that I authored all this stuff. Oops, I lost my place. So we're like here, no? I didn't base everything off of the rails. Maybe that's my initial problem, is that I should have done all the extrusions based on the rails and not on the objects that are going into the rails. So like this sketch, I believe, is probably on, let's see, let's check. Oh no, that's the extrusion. Hold on, cancel, cancel, cancel. I think that sketch is, yeah, that sketch is based on this position right here. And then I went in a particular distance, and I think I did that by measuring. So instead of by measuring, I need to go to objects so that it's based on something that changes when I tweak things. So instead of, where did that step go? Talking about enough rope to hang myself from? Yeah. What the? Where am I even creating the solid? Hold on a minute. That's this extrusion, but that's not that extrusion. I'm looking for the sketch. There's the sketch. But I think the sketch was placed on, I thought it was placed here. And then it would be extruded out from there. But if I go to that sketch, yeah, that solid already exists. Okay, so that's not exactly where it comes from. No, I don't quite think you understand what we're working on yet. What I'm trying to do is move the rails outward just a little bit to represent what's actually in real life. And so when I do that, it should automatically just affect all the stuff that I've built. But unfortunately, this is a little bit of a disorganized design file. What's happened here is I've created a bunch of stuff that is in particular positions, and it's kind of a mess. We can fix this. I just need to find where I'm placing everything. There it is. So I'm mirroring this side. It's not based on this solid here. That solid here just happens to be there. I am mirroring what happened on this side. That explains why it's 0.05 in both of them. Both 0.05, they're both 0.05 in, or maybe 0.25 in. So it is based, so the mirror command is really what messed with me here. I made a frame and then I mirrored it and then I put all the components in the frame and then I extruded to those components. I extruded the holes that those components projected into that frame. So by moving those 0.2 over, it doesn't move anything 0.2. Man, I should have aligned this stuff based on, you know, the positions of the rails, because then everything would have moved with the rails. I didn't know that part would be part of the problem. Okay. So we're getting to the bottom of exactly what caused this issue. And that can be fixed by correcting the extrusion of the feetsies. And if I fix one, I fix both. Where am I fixing them, though? There. And they're still going -10 from up here. And for some reason, that projection is based on some other... It's not actually being based on the position of the rails. But when we look back on that sketch, the rails haven't been moved yet. Yeah, it seems like tolerance stacking, but when I get to the bottom of it, there's no tolerance stacking going on here. Okay, let's go back to where the two rails were inserted into the drawing. So that's here. Those are being mirrored over there from the original one. And then I added two rails so that we could do the power supply design. Once I added the two rails, I put them into the drawing, and then here's where I position them, and then I base a sketch off of the bottom of the Vicor things. That's where I project in some of the positions of things. But if we go all the way back to this step, double click it, let it rewind time, and now there's no solids here yet. This stems back to a mistake, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I see you. I see you. I see you right there. You. You to you. It's not in there. There's no distance. I thought I saw a discrepancy. I was wrong. Okay. Those are in the right position. So there's an error in the drawing. So if I finish position, we're going right here. Man, this is complicated. Let me get rid of the maker beams. So that's going from the outside of this thing. Well, it's the inside of the chamfer of that. Oh, God. It's going up 10. I mean, I could remake the feet. That would be one way to do it. That's the rail, though. That's the rail that I'm using. That projection. I guess it's just not reissuing the projection for the updated positions, which would be an error. That's an error. So it's going to the end of the chamfer of the old position. Because if I measure this from outside edge to outside edge, we get some bonkers number, right? 120, but wait a minute, that is the right number. What the hell's going on here? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, chat. Maybe this error existed the whole time and I just never saw it. Usually how these things go. So what is the thickness of this leg? 2.84, which clips in. So I actually need it to be to this. I need to somehow unlink my box. Or are they just lines? Oh, this is going to mess with all the other steps when I alter this. This is going to start This is going to start messing with everything else because they'll be snapped to the wrong thing. I must have clicked the wrong thing. Just downloaded Fusion 360 about a week ago. All right. It's a good piece of software. You just have to learn kind of how to work within its means. This is a little bit crazy. It can be anyway. All right, so let's go to the bottom view and let me get the maker beam out of there. So the problem is that I just snapped it to the wrong thing, I think. So I need to unsnap that. Move my box out to, I need to move it to the edge of the maker beam. So let me, careful. Careful now. I need to move it to the edge of the maker beam, which is represented by that. And is this line in here? That one right there is where I need to go to. Yeah, see, it's snapping to the wrong one. So I need to project that line and go to that line. Now, hopefully, Fusion isn't too confused about those dimensions. I probably have to fix the other one, too. I probably only fixed one. No more clipping. AKA what should have happened before. This one is still clipping. You can see that's running through there. So I need to go back to that sketch. Oh God, what sketch was it? Was it that one? I think it was this one. Why did I do it this way? Why did I do it this way? How dumb am I? Don't answer that. What are you, a 3-point? Oh, I can't see it because the maker beam's in the way. Why is that not deleting? No, not move. Delete coincident. There we go. Oh my God. Is this not a 3-point? Oh boy. Oh, I see. Oh no, that was the wrong delete. All right, we'll put that back. Put that back where you found it. It looks expensive. Is it heavy? Yeah. Well, then it's expensive. Put it back. Finish sketch. We're doing it wrong we're doing it wrong in the right way. We're fixing the double wrongs and we're making a singular wrong. So now that doesn't clip. So when I print this thing again, all the dimensions will be correct. And then this one also doesn't clip because it's the mirror image of its buddy on the other side. The only thing that I did not solve is that this whole solid sketch does not stick out 0.2 millimeters further. So moving those objects was pointless because everything's going to stay in the same spot. It's just this piece right here just got a little thinner. I did not know I did it that way. I thought I was going to make the whole thing just poke out just a little bit more, but that's not the reality of what I've just done, which means I probably have to correct that mistake. We have to go back to the other step. I can't go through, because we're altering the timeline, I can't go through the timeline of the things that I've done. I mean, maybe I could find it here and figure that out, but I'm not going to mess with that. I'm not going to mess with that. Nope, redo. We're just going to move it back with our tail between our legs. So I'll go back to the sketch where I position all this crap, and I'll just scoot it back 0.2 in both directions. Oh man, that was annoying. All I did was thin these things out a little bit, but that's going to make a huge difference for the fitment of the rest of this design. I was hoping that I could make it a little bit more malleable in terms of being able to move components around. We'll probably have to come up with like a front cover for this whole thing, but that's like a major design. I don't want to do that right now. So that would be, oh, I clicked on the right step. Hey, how about that? How about that, chat? Huh? What do you think about that? Huh? What do you think? What do you think? All right, get that back over there. I'm gonna move all this stuff 0.2. So I gotta select all the right stuff. I need this circuit board. I'll basically just, it's all at the bottom of the drawing now that the timeline has been reversed. So the LED boards, that's the breaker stays there. Maker corner, this one, this one, this one, and the DB connector. LED doesn't matter. It's just in the drawing because it'll break other stuff. Rocker switch, that, no. What is that thing? I don't know what that is. DB15, there we go. You know, I think my 3D printer could probably utilize a DB15 once I upgrade it to use a CAM. Whatever you call it. 0.2. I'm gonna CAN. I'm gonna use the CAN bus on my 3D printer. I've decided. I've ordered a bunch of parts, and that'll eventually lead to a Voron upgrade. Even though I think that the name Voron is a little bit weird, but that'll lead to a Voron upgrade for my printer eventually. Man, I priced out the stuff for the hot end. Holy crap, it's expensive. Like they're like, oh, go Voron. That way you can print out your own 3D print. No, I can print out the covers and like it'll position stuff in the right area. Will Solid or CAD convert to 360? Yeah, I mean, the software is good enough that I think you can move a lot of different other softwares into it. Negative 0.2. Generally, you want to be working with step files. Those are the ones that are going to look the best. You know, step file, what are you doing? But the step files are going to look the best in the software. I'm just going to get rid of these, actually. These corner cubes are not relevant anymore. Although they are kind of marking out where I've got the mounts. I'm not using these as mounts anymore because they don't actually fit. Although I could actually use them as mounts, to be honest. I'll just have to find other spots for them to go in. The little tiny brackets are the ones that I'm going to be using. So let's not bother with those right now. So finish the position on all that stuff. Now my drawing at least represents what's there. 3D prints all the way down. Like, I don't know. I like the Voron. I think it's a very quick printer. It's got the nozzle kind of unobstructed mostly. It's got the two air ducts that are right next to it. Those will, and in my experience, kind of melt down a little bit if I make them out of PETG, which means I'd have to really kind of either get the parts externally or I don't really know what to do about that. I like the E3D Chimera. It's a little bit more square. The CAN board that I bought is for the Voron, just because the Chimera is going to be a major amount of work for me to get all the right stuff in it, like the proximity sensor, like the 24 volt stuff that I have, like this, that, all the little accoutrements that I'm going to have on the printer. Moving over to that system where the nozzle is part of the heat break, I'm a little wary of that because it's like $35 a nozzle, and I've had the printer bend the nozzle before, bend the heat break before, which is incredibly frustrating to diagnose because all your stuff isn't moving correctly. My CAD engineer messed up a part of my device and hasn't fixed it. It's been a year and no word. I'm going to try to do it myself. Good luck. Hopefully it's not that complicated of a fix. I hope you have a solid part file. You might have to, because for instance, the stuff we're looking at right now, these are Fusion 360 solids. They're not meshes. You can work with meshes in Fusion 360. You can also learn how to convert meshes into solid SLD PRT type files, the SolidWorks parts type files that are much easier to work with. You're not going to necessarily get the timeline if they haven't been working in Fusion 360. I don't know about other CAD programs though, because I mostly just know AutoCAD. I've learned this software by means of attrition over many years. Okay, so we solved our problem forever, I think. Just check to see that this thing isn't friggin' clipping into itself. That's good. Go to the other end. Zoom in. That one's good. that means that the distance of that line right there, my final datum, is going to be 120.4. That's still going to be a bit of a tight fit, but that'll at least allow me to create all this stuff properly. What about you? Okay, you're based on that position, so that dimension's going to change, and I'm going to reprint this in black. I don't know if I'm going to... We should probably put, like, cutouts in this, because it's a little too solid for the side of this control panel. We should put little cutouts in it just for fun. Although this is solid, too, so it's kind of setting the precedent. Having this be inset like that, I don't know. There's not really much that I can do for that. That's supposed to hold up a reservoir full of water, so it needs to be a little strong. I could always make that go all the way up to the top, but then it would be kind of wasting resources. Okay, we solved the initial problem that was supposed to take 2 seconds to solve. If I have that problem again, I can move the rails again by like 0.05 either side, and then everything again should cater to that position, I hope. If it breaks some solids, like if some of the holes run into lines, then either the program will call it out, or you'll get all kinds of cursed stuff happening on your things. So it's important to track some of the details that will change if you move apart. Like, for instance, these whole oval and hole things will move to the right if I move the rails again. And if that creates a weird space, Fusion will sometimes just make an assumption about what it fills in and what it doesn't. So there have been times when I've moved stuff into the slicer program and I've been like, what the hell is that? There's been Cthulhu shit coming out of the other side of my CAD program. So now we're back to what we were doing before, which is figuring out how in the hell am I going to fit all this stuff into this little cubby hole and be able to connect everything properly. Device is getting about 1 pound of thrust, but 2 of the fluid ways are reversed, causing cavitation in the system. The rotor to fluid core clearance is 0.4 with no units associated with it. Too big, causing the air and the fluid charge to mix before going to the rotor. Jesus Christ. That sounds like something out of the purview of Fusion. That sounds like something that they put on the literature of Fusion 360. We got this system here with this rotor and the mixture coefficient, covalence, and we enter the number into our generated solids, and then it compensates based on the thermal coefficient of the... that's too engineering for here. We're sitting here on Twitch going, what if I make a triangle? Maybe I can connect that triangle to this square. And then the program goes, triangle to square error. And we go, I don't know how to fix this. That's about the level we're at. My butt hurts from sitting in this stool. All right, so our next issue is how am I going to fit everything in here? That's really that's the point we're at. I need the inlet of the pump facing upwards because that's cheating, and I don't have to worry about the tube. If I 180 degree this thing and I put both of the things over here, I wonder if we can work with it that way. So in order to do things properly and shuffle things around, I have this step right here where I'm positioning stuff. So we'll go back to this one. What I'd really like to do is get these things positioned properly. You know, put the square in the square hole and the triangle in the triangle hole. It fits in the square hole. So I want to get these things positioned properly because then I can create brackets around all this stuff and create little plastic brackets that I can then print and then attach to a floor plate, and everything will be attached, and we can figure out how to do the hoses. The hoses are going to be a little bit crazy. They're going to go up and around and then down to everything that's around this thing. Yeah, I don't understand the first thing about... I'm sure the problem's very clear to you. And this is like a big deal in consulting as well, is that like, I don't know what you're talking about. Your corporate language is too entrenched in itself, and it has become something other than communication. That's a big deal in consulting, and that's not exactly what's happening. But it reminds me of that, of this sort of degradation of communication due to corporate speak. that you then hire a consultant. We're like, why doesn't this work? We need a consultant in here. Consultant comes in and it's like, what? The problem is too complicated to even communicate. We need to cut stuff and make it easy. Yeah, well, I don't need a buzzword generator anymore. It's become so ingrained in my vernacular that the buzzwords just flow. Sorry, the deliverables are, I don't know, are circled back upon automatically. If I go way forward, then technically I have room for a tube back here. Ugh, stop touching my base. I didn't tell you you could do that. Bad touch, bad touch. Perspective with ortho faces, what I feel like, whenever you view stuff in ortho mode, oh God, synergy. I used to be a lot better at the stupid corporate speak. You know, you could go for paragraphs without actually saying anything. But luckily I've lost a little bit of it over the years since being a consultant. A high-powered DC electrical engineering consultant. This is orthographic view. This view is only designed so that if you view something straight on from the side, aka like this, you can look at it and you basically look down the aisle and you say, okay, that's the distance between those two things. Very useful for making functional drawings. It does not work in any kind of an isometric sense. Maybe a very strict isometric sense, it might make a little, but what it's designed to do is to alter the dimensions of stuff in order to make them look properly from the side, like an engineering drawing. So what you can see here is that the object that's closer to you is smaller than the object that's further away. Some people don't even notice when things are in that mode. They just don't even notice it. And I'm looking at it right now like, I hate this. I hate it. It doesn't, visually, it just doesn't really look like the thing that's there. In strictly in an isometric, like strict isometric view, it can work, but it's generally just for viewing things directly from the side so that they look like that, right? So perspective with ortho faces is usually a good way to go, because then you can look around at your drawing like this and everything is in proper human perspective terms. You know, Michelangelo is pleased that everything goes to a point all the way out in the distance, and everybody is happy. But then you go to an ortho face in order to measure something and everything looks properly orthographic from here, because a perspective side view is also equally non-functional due to parallax. So this is not that functional. I can't see if, like, does this line up with the thing behind it? I don't know. I have no idea. Well, I know that if I go to an orthographic view, it does line up because I don't see it from the other end. I can view it from the other side. So anyway, that's just a little diatribe about that stuff. So yeah, in perspective view now, it's just, it messes with my head. The origin point is behind you. I never thought about it like that. So to replace ion drives uses disbalanced vectors in a spinning rotor using gas and fluid. Is this that rotating explosion thing that just came out in the news? Anti-gravity using solid weights. Mine uses fluid and the weight's only one side of the rotor. We're back on anti-gravity for some reason. What happened? Did the flatulent gonad raid bring a bunch of crazies in here? I don't know. You're probably not a crazy. I don't know. Just we just had somebody else mention, why aren't you working on anti-gravity? And it's like, what? Huh? Oh wait, we're in that step right now. Okay, so I can freely move these things. Move copy. So I'm gonna scoot that thing in here. We're just trying stuff out until, you know, something sticks, right? Just thinking about how these different things will go together without clipping. See, now that has to move forward a little bit because I need to be able to get a fitting on that. And how close are we to the bottom here? Might be a latent effect of the ring laser gyroscope streams. You bite your tongue. We're gonna come back to that. I'm not done with ring laser gyroscopes. I'm not done with those. We failed so heartily on that fucking thing. So mad. If I move this up as far as possible, I guess that clears that a little bit, because I can use that as like, for instance, this has to connect to here. That's a bit awkward, but I can make that work. These would have to scoot under and around that tube. That's also a bit awkward, but I could make it work. Oh, and that's clipping, which I cannot make work. Damn it! Fuck, son of a fucking shit, fuck, piece of shit, fucking. Okay, so we cannot make that work. That needs to be 180 degrees from where it is, which means I would need to move the fan. Or eliminate the fan. If I eliminate the fan, of course, this will all work out. I can't move it back, because then it's going to collide with this thing. Oh, I don't even know if the context is free energy. I don't know the context, because people just come in and they say stuff, and I don't know who they are. I don't know you. That's not your purse. Move copy. All right, move that over there. Boom. So let me see here. Yeah, the ring laser gyroscope failed. I'm sad about that. But I think mostly it was our laser diode. I don't think the laser diode lends itself well to interferometry, which means that we need to somehow hang a tube laser with a power cord and have that be able to spin, and I need to like really spin it in order to see anything happening. Unless we enclose a larger area with our laser. My optical table is only so big. I've had that since I was a teenager, and I probably want to use the optical table as a bed for the mill, because that way I can mount more of a variety of stuff to the mill. But I don't, man. Yeah, you go get a gravitational wave emitter and hook it up to your noiseless headphones. I'm not even bothering with that right now. I'm trying to do this. Yeah, free energy is when you throw a coil at a large power line and you sap off a little bit of energy and a little light turns on a console somewhere. All right, so let's move this around. Let's try to get this to fit. How else can I do this? I don't think there's much. I don't think there's much I can do other than flipping the pump around again. If I move the fan, and that means printing out a lot of stuff again, these aren't terrible to reprint, I guess. I could maybe move. It's unfortunate that I can't just move the fan and it moves everything with the fan, including its mount. That's not how this drawing works, unfortunately, because it was based on the holes for the direction that the ovals go that mount the fan is the direction that the holes are for the original fan mount. And while that can move to the other fan mount, it will create problems if I try to move it from the right fan mount to the left fan mount. I can undo those associations, though, and maybe the solids will move with it. Maybe Fusion will be slightly forgiving for once in its infernal fucking life. It's like this is the only choice that I have. This is one of those engineering-isms where it's like the beginner sees many solutions and the expert sees few, except most of the solutions are sort of self-created by me. So it would be the expert creates a scenario where there's only one solution, and the beginner probably knows to do it a little bit better. That's kind of what it feels like right now. I actually don't need to create a channel behind this, do I? Other than for wiring. But I guess putting this thing as far forward creates as much room for us back here to somehow squeeze both of these motherfuckers into this position. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I think maybe the cursed design has to happen, and I need to move this fan over to the other side. Well, then that's apparently according to what the other chatter said, which is completely off topic and had nothing to do with what I was working on. Cough, cough. Maybe that's what you should be working on. Maybe that's what we should all be working on simultaneously, apparently. Irregardless, sorry, I forgot to use the right word. Irregardless of your skills. If I put a heavy right angle connector on the end of that thing, it's going to take up a lot of room, but it could mean that I would be able to just barely friggin' Angelina Jolie style curve my tube over here. Like so many bullets in that movie. Do you just start a conversation with that? Do you just start a conversation with that? You just, everyone's sitting in a room and you just bust the door down and go, man, I love extrusion. You know what I like? I love extrusion. Who is this? Who's calling? Why did you call me? Why did you say that? God. Why would you say something like that to me? All right, so we're trying, what I'm trying to do is get these little AlphaCool distribution blocks to fit in this tiny little cubbyhole that I've sort of made for myself. This is a self-inflicted gunshot wound is what this whole project is. I will create clamps in order to make this, this fit, but the fan, keeping the fan clear and mounting this stuff is becoming a bit of a challenge. And I was considering even just making my own, like just milling my own distributor, because there's a limited number of threads that I'd need to do, and it's all within my skill level. I could see, the thing is, I do kind of want to have the maximum volume leading into these things, because one of these has to go all the way out to the laser and back, and that's why we selected this particular pump. This is a 12-volt pump, a little 12-volt brushless pump. It's quite powerful for what it is. I'll probably end up actually using one of these things that I tried to fix my car with, which is just this little MOSFET motor driver, so that we can flip 12 volts via the Raspberry Pi. That'll help us out greatly, actually. No mounting holes on this. Well, there's 2 mounting holes on this, and they're on one end of the board. I don't know who they think is using their products, but that's not very useful to us. I can probably just stash that thing somewhere behind all of this. But yeah, we've got something that can flip on and off our motor, but we've got a send and a receive, huh? Now, thanks to you, I know what a FET is. Congratulations and fuck you. Yeah. Metal oxide field effect transistor. MOS is metal oxide semiconductor. Somebody's going to correct me before I even correct myself. You'll see the chat message will roll through right about now. But yeah, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. It uses a slightly different method of flipping the transistor, in that it uses the electrical field instead of the current from the electricity coming through. So you get to a threshold voltage with very little current behind it, and boom, it switches over. You can switch very quickly as a result. And so when you're flipping things like LEDs of high current in order to create a dimming effect, MOSFETs are really good. But they can also be very sensitive, like the best of us. They can be subject to a little bit too much electricity, and they'll pop. What are you doing with the car? I'm trying to fix my old fucking car. I have a 1999 528i Touring Edition, which is a station wagon, BMW station wagon, and all kinds of stuff goes wrong with these cars just by matter of them. This one, for instance, by matter of it going from an inside car to an outside car. There's all kinds of infiltration from things like water, and that leads to heartache in the worst ways. So what I've had to do is go through the anti-lock braking system and try to solve a bunch of problems with that, which gets me into all kinds of different engineering, because after months of troubleshooting, I wind up discovering things like that. For instance, the MOSFETs that are inside of the module aren't working, and nobody has any information on them. And as such, I had to guess on the MOSFET replacements, and I had to do that before stream started. So what I had to do is select the FETs and just go through all the stuff that I had and figure out whether or not I can make it work. The answer may surprise you. It's no. The answer is no. I was not able to make it work. What happened was, well, my best theory is that the threshold voltage for the FETs wasn't high enough. So, no, it's just a pre-compressor motor of the anti-lock braking system. And, you know, I've had other car repair streams. We've done all kinds of stuff with the car, unfortunately, which is like, I tried to recreate the LED board for the tail light, but that was like a $40 repair. I just had to spend the money to get the part. So that one was due to water getting in. I've had other troubleshooting issues, but yeah. No, the one that's having coil issues is my friend. I had to give him 2 out of my 4 junkyard ignition coils. All right, I'm striking out. I don't know how I can rearrange these things without using 45-degree angles. Because again, I need to keep a clear area on the one side of these reservoirs, because, or these manifolds, because they have to have a big tube fitting over there. The big tube fitting on them, which would plug in here. 4 send, 4 receive. I mean, if I did this in such a way as to send the bulk of the liquid across the power supply, I could use different fittings. I could do everything still in parallel without a manifold. All those lure lock fittings that I bought would be pointless. You know, I'm starting to think that maybe these manifolds are the problem. Maybe I don't need these. If I do big tube into small tube, into small tube, into small tube, I can have a big tube running down and around, and I can have stops on the big tube where I take the small tube and I go into the thing. Because we've got at least 2 stops here, Raspberry Pi and the controller board. 1 stop here. The controller board used to be 2 stops, but we could do a power supply block just for the hell of it. Yeah, I could just attach a block to the back of this thing. Yeah, just because I figure this will create a little bit of heat. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is these 2 connections over here that go to the laser. And I guess I want plenty of pressure in the line. So doing this with a big line would probably be a bad idea. So it'd probably be a couple of these things, and then one of these things on the end. And then the return would be the same thing. It would be one of those, and then a couple of these as you go up. So I guess I could do it along the sides of the thing, and I could go down and back. And that way I'm using the thicker tube. So it'd be like one of these, another one of these at the end, and then it goes into this. That might be the way to go, chat. That's going to alleviate a lot of my sizing issues. I would have liked to use these things. I know the manifolds are nice, and it's nice to have little tubes all over the place in your design, but it seems like distributing that it seems like distributing that problem to future me is the way to go. which is really what I'm doing. Oops, that's wrong view. That's the microscope. Oh my God, it's a Raspberry Pi. Look at how corroded it is. Neat. All right, so okay. Yeah, I think we need to redistribute this project to future me, and instead of relying on my own ability, I'm going to rely on future me's ability to run a big tube along this big rail here. I don't want the manifolds to really, I mean, okay, so yeah, there's a little bit of a problem here, and you actually kind of highlighted that. If I put the manuals, if I put the manifolds somewhere else, that means that there's this big, speaking of which, big pixels, thank you for subbing for 10 months. I appreciate that. Prime. Because primes don't necessarily remind you unless you're pretty active on Twitch. So those of you that have large numbers of months on those primes, I really do appreciate. You guys are great. Thank you for remembering me. I'm still here where you left me. So the problem with relocating the manifolds is that I move this major leaky thing to a different spot. And I guess most of you in here would be like, why not put it at the bottom? Because that way it doesn't leak on your 120 volt power supply. Sure, yeah, that's probably fine. But I guess what I'm doing by doing it the way that I just described is I am putting the leaky thing throughout the backing of the whole thing. I'm putting the leaky thing throughout the whole rail. And if anything goes wrong, I need to get to the back of that in terms of water and leaking. Now, once we figure this out and we seal it all up, it's going to be like a Keurig. It's going to be all sealed and fine. I don't think there will be too many issues. I don't really foresee, like, once we seal everything, once I get either zip ties or pieces of tube inside of pieces of tube, sealing everything, I think it should be fine for the operational life of the whole thing. But, well, your high pressure and my high pressure are different. Keurig machines are horrible. There was a long time ago, I was putting together, I did a stream where my old, not college, not high school, not grade school, it's my adult Keurig machine before I moved to where I am now. Back when I had a job, before I moved into where I am now, I had an old Keurig machine, and it sat for ages. And so I decided to take it apart instead of using it, because the Keurig machine always holds on to a little bit of water. And I guess you would do well to put vinegar in it, but there's no real way to like fully drain everything out. So I took it apart and we reassembled it on the bench. So I have a whole bunch of air pumps and stuff that I don't need now. Keurig machine was held together with silicone tubes and zip ties. And it has a cool looking reservoir and a couple of liquid sensors, so that when you decide what size cup you want, it will fill to that volume and then drain with air and then come back up to the initial volume and heat that liquid up again, right? That's how the Keurig works. I'm not, fuck off with the RFID tags, we're not talking about that. But it does this whole system with a series of about 10,000 tubes inside of the device, because there are checks and there are valves and there's things that make sure that things are happening the way they're supposed to happen. All kinds of like weird stuff going on. Pressure sensors and whatnot. I have all those parts in a bin. That was good enough to be run with silicone tubes and zip ties. So that's how that whole thing is held together. And I've got a couple silicone tube fittings here that I've held on to from the Keurig. I actually reassembled the whole thing on the shop bench using Maker Beam. But the problem is there's a little dip tube that's right under the reservoir. That little dip tube had black mold in it because it had sat for so long without being used. So if your Keurig is sitting for months and months and months, I would suggest not using it anymore. I would suggest just buying a new one, because yeah, it's a bad scene. Discharge in thrift stores, they're too complex for their own good. Yeah. The unfortunate nature of the way that machine works is that it holds on to liquid and it keeps that liquid. So you cannot dry it out and store it. You can't. I'm late, so it's done. Up I go. Sure, I write you on my wall with a magic marker. Thank you, Schmide. I really appreciate the 53 months. And that's a streak, too. Nicely done. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can put vinegar in the water tank, and then you got to kind of like drain the machine out, because it's like you're going to go with homeopathic vinegar in your water because you keep adding to the volume, and then it doesn't fully drain every time. But that is, they do suggest that you run vinegar through the machine periodically. And I don't know, does vinegar eventually, like, the point of vinegar is that it doesn't do that? Yeah, you have like a couple atoms of vinegar left over, theoretically, after 10,000 cycles. All right, so we are not putting these things in, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I like my vinegar coffee in the morning. If I were to run all of this, it's an acid. Yeah, I know it's an acid, man. Some of you guys, I could move this fan over here to this side and then put this sort of to the right, but I still think the blocking of all these fittings is kind of a problem. I think the way to go is what chat suggested, or no, chat didn't suggest it, I did. What I suggested, because I'm smarter, is to put the output will go up and around and down, as well as the return will go up and around. It'll basically come out of the reservoir, and then I'll just have it over here in the larger tubes. And then the larger tubes, I have these fittings that will split it off individually to the smaller ones. So I guess that's the way that it has to be. Now this location of the pump is actually kind of ideal, even though the return from the reservoir is right here. This would be the, actually, yeah, this would be the supply from the reservoir here. This is the return. The point of choosing this reservoir is that it's got a little spinny thingy on it, a little cool little spinny thingy, so that when this system runs, we'll know it's running. A little cool little spinny thingy. That makes all the difference. So I need to move this over to actually make it mount properly. I can't move it. Yeah, I can't move it in any other direction. It just needs to move to the right a little bit. Let's take a look at the reservoir. Oh god, the reservoir is in shit shape. Doesn't look great. There's a lot of detritus on this thing. It's been allowed to dry off, which was a mistake because I used tap water in it. I'll have to figure out how to clean this thing later on. Boom leg shot. Hey. Boom leg shot, thank you for the prime. 6 months. Yeah, I'll use balsamic reduction. Yeah, the crimscrams. Scrimscrams. This is the return. It's all the way over here. Or no. This is the return. I want water to come back in this side. Okay, so we're actually in good shape. Water comes back in here. This would be where water comes from. The pump gets the water from here. So that the pump's in the perfect spot. I'll just run a little, like, it probably will have to go up and down, but the water level should probably be up here. So as long as that little hoop-de-whoop, schloopity-doop, toobity-doo doesn't run above the water level, that won't collect a bubble. And this pump is angry enough that it can send a good volume of water. I guess what I could do, well, no, because we want enough pressure. We want enough pressure here to get all the way out to the laser. So I was thinking, like, I could run a big loop of pipe right here and have 2 connections there, and then it'll go down and around and out. But that's not a good idea, because then I won't get any pressure. English only, I can't moderate other languages. Translate.google will decide your fate. Bop. Detect language. I know the caliper. Yeah, that's a good caliper. You have one more chance to not type a random character into chat. Okay. I can't even moderate you in that. You're gonna have to speak in English. What's it default to? Anyway, so what I'm saying is that I don't think I'll have a large diameter Belarusian, holy shit. I don't think I'll have a large diameter tube at the power supply, because that'll lower the overall pressure of the water system, right? So, yeah, I'll have like a thin tube on the power supply. I don't need it. It's just one of the things that we could do. So I'll have a little split off on either side. And I'll probably like just put like a little tube on it, and then I'll have the little tubes on these. So it'll just be like a full distribution, which is going to be annoying. It's going to be annoying for me to get the bubbles out of. I guess if it's vertical, it'll be okay. And if it adds enough pressure, it'll probably throw all the bubbles out. A needlessly water-cooled laser etching wall-mounted thing. It's a laser etching board that's going to take the names of subscribers and burn them onto itself. That means I need more of these fittings. Damn it. I ordered the wrong kind of fittings. I was going to do lure lock fittings, because those just seal. You just twist them and they seal. But pressure should be the same, but flow would be slower with bigger tubes. PV equals nRT though. So if the overall volume of, well, also we have to deal with the distance to go to the laser. We're not in a textbook. All right, if you make me use Google Translate one more time, I'm gonna have to ban you. And you can talk to the moderators to get unbanned. He says needless, but it actually means necessity. All right. All right. So, head height. I don't know what the head height of this pump is. I don't know what it can do. And technically, if you look at the height of the laser, it's going to be from like here to here. Actually, I think it's a little wider than that. No, that's about right. It'd be about here to here. So that's where the laser is going to end up. Actually, technically the highest point is going to be pretty tall. It actually might reach a little bit above the reservoir, which would be a problem. So, But yeah, if I do, so it'll just be the pump behind this, which is much easier. Misunderstood the scale. It's a 40mm fan. Yeah. This stuff is tiny. This stuff is very, very small. So let's see here. Back to CAD. Boop. Where am I putting this pump? Like, I guess this would have to go out and around. Well, it depends on where we're pumping. I guess the radiator and the reservoir, we're going to think of it's like one unit. And then I'll do the right angle connector here like we already have. That will alleviate some of the need for tubes to be bent in weird ways. But then that's got to go directly into the reservoir, which previously I had two fittings that would couple them together. It's a little bit much though. It's a little bit much for me to clearance all that stuff. And it's better for me to have this little cubby hole where I can mount stuff. So we're gonna have the cubby hole where we can mount stuff. And then we'll have, I guess, tube fittings on the reservoir. One of the returns, I guess, will go through the reservoir, and then it goes into the little flappy wheel input right here. So that's fine. There needs to just be a little length of tube here to here. That's going to be kind of a weird one to finagle. I'll figure it out, though. I might need to buy some fittings. I bought fittings, though, so I should have plenty of fittings on hand. Then, from the reservoir, it goes to the impeller. Just that way, it's much easier to prime the pump, right? So we fill up this reservoir, and then the impeller is primed, and then it'll pump back through all this stuff, and the radiator is able to accept all of the bubbly water and have it come up to the tallest point in the thing, the reservoir. So the other return line, this one will be the send, and then the other return line is over here. So they're a little discombobulated, but what I can do is send them probably down the same side, maybe, and maybe I can make like a tube mount that goes directly to the directly to the rail. So we'll make 2 holes for the tubes, and it'll just be like a little surround that'll then connect to this rail with like a bolt. You deal with your own tuba. I don't know. I gotta deal with chat's tubas. I don't need your weird jokes. Is it gonna be so discombobulated? Look at how uneven that is. I don't like how uneven that is. I don't think I can do anything about that though. If I move this, I think things will move with it. I'd have to move both of these in conjunction with one another. But then I'm creating problems for myself right here. So it's the little discombobulation of this part is just going to be inherent to the system. my symmetry. No, what have you done to my beautiful symmetry? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So I have a pretty good idea of how this thing is going to go. I mean, we definitely want to have the top one to be the return to the reservoir. And I'll want that to not be a completely convoluted tube, but it's going to have to make its way around this. There's no getting around that. I don't want to float this on that connection. That's what I had before. It's very hard to work with. So if I can somehow turn this into a tube even sooner than that, that would be nice. I don't think there's that much room though. Like these fittings. Whoa! I can't even get this. I can't get this out of the. I can't get the fitting out of the reservoir because it's stuck. It's at exactly the right height for the fitting. So. How much room would that take up? Yeah, that might be a big ask. I don't think I can do that. The tube would have to do an angle that's a little bit extreme. Now I do actually have, from the Keurig, I have like brackets that you can put around and specific tubing that you can use in order to make tighter bends, because they had to do that in certain places in the Keurig. God, this stuff is complicated and stupid. Here, let me see what I have from the Keurig. I don't know where those parts are. Maybe I won't get them. Where are them parts at? Keurig parts. There they are. The most disorganized bin that I have also contains some Keurig parts. Actually, did I get them out of here? Did I move them? You good on that? Okay. They might have ended up somewhere else and then ceremoniously thrown away. Dispatched. There's all the like air pumps and stuff that were in it. Yeah, it doesn't look like I have any of the fittings here. I wonder what I did with all of them. I think I decided that I would never be using anything like that. And I just tossed it all, which is a mistake. Bit of a mistake. Yeah, oh well. I don't have anything like that. I do have a bunch of garbage that I need to throw away. That's what this all boils down to, is bother getting rid of garbage. All right, I got a bit more of an idea of what we need here. Let's make a pump mount. It's hard to conceptualize all this stuff when you're trying to keep so many different systems in mind at the same time. I guess my goals here are rather simple, though. I would like to finish just getting a pump mount done. And also, if we do the large tubing that goes down the side of this thing and splits off the smaller tubing, that means that we don't have as much stuff blocking the airflow into the radiator, which is not vital, I will add. There's going to be enough water in the system that it's not really going to matter all that much about dissipating the heat. I really don't think that's going to be an issue. But just in case, I put a little 40mm fan on it that'll move some air. And then the pump will obviously be moving all that water. And if it dares get anywhere close to saturation, I guess we always have the option to put fans on the top of the radiator. Or, you know, slight redesign down here. I can move this down and we can use some low profile fans. Something like that. Bother's basically an e-waste recycler. It's not a mantle that I would necessarily love to take on. So what do we do here? Do we do like 2 brackets? We got to print this from the 3D printer. So basically the 3D printer plane is going to be like here. It's going to be this end or the other end. This end or this end. This is the simpler end, so I guess we should design it from there. And then I'll just like center it in this, and we can just make kind of a wide bracket that's split. Yeah, and just takes a Phillips head screw. And at the bottom can be part of this print, because this one's printing from this face, so that can print up, and then the other one can print from the side and just round out the top piece. Actually, did I just actually myself? Okay, no, never mind. We can go up, and then I can chamfer the sides, and then I can put 2 screw holes in it. This is super simple. Okay, so we'll go to the sketch here. Where is that sketch? Let's lock in the position first. Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of making a square. Oh my god, a square. I never would have assumed that he was able to make such a beautiful shape. So the supply is like literally on top of the pump right now. It might make some sense to move this thing away a little bit. A little bit to the right. Yeah, I think so. All right, so brushless DC pump, move copy, where its axis is in a weird spot. Oh, right, point to point. Yoink. I don't even think I'm gonna measure distances on this. I'm just gonna like put it here and just hope that's okay. And we'll build the posts up from the bottom of this thing to cradle it. Cradle it. To hold it in place just beautifully. And then, yeah, there should be enough room for the silicone tube there. Okay, cool. So okay, we're done with the position. We're not worried about the distribution blocks. Maybe those will come in handy if I do like a 3D printer that's water cooled. I would love to do a water cooled 3D printer. I don't have the money to do a 3D printer that is also water cooled because it's pointless. This is okay. So that's our tryptophobia sketch, which we could turn into, because I'm not doing the holes in that plate anymore. Actually, maybe I should do holes in the plate still, but also do the pump mount. So maybe we'll keep that one for now. I won't alter this, and we'll make a new sketch on that face. But we'll rewind time. Well, we need time to be where the pump is positioned in place. So yeah, and those two came in there. Nothing else is based on those positions. What do you mean? Yeah, none of the future stuff is based on that. Don't you lie to me, program. Okay, so now we're free to make a new sketch. New sketch. I mean, we were free to do that before, but now we're even more free to make even more of a new free sketch. I'm gonna do this from the bottom. Bottom. And we go down here. And then I don't need to see the base plate. Where is that thing? Oh yeah, it's in bodies. Man, I really wish I could make like organize these a little better. Okay, so now I'm gonna project 2 outer faces of this thing. That's all I need from that. Let's see, what are we gonna do? Make a box from the center, right? So if I just take the center of that, that would be a construction line. And now I can just do a center box. Oops, center back. That's not a construction. From the center, take it out like that. And now we just go to logical dimensions, right? So we'll do 35 wide. That leaves, well, actually, we need enough material on the ends that's going to allow me to have a screw with, no, a lot of the components, a lot of the extra stuff, like like the Noctua fan on the radiator. The radiator's directly from AlphaCool's website. The Noctua fan is from GrabCAD. So I use a lot of GrabCAD, and I use a lot of parts directly off of websites in order to put together stuff like this. This is going to have to be offset a little bit because of the nozzle. The nozzle. Yeah, this is going to have to be a little bit offset. And I'm going to need room for the cap heads of the screws. It doesn't need to be pretty, but I should have room for the cap heads of the screws, which are 4 millimeters wide. So if I go 5 millimeter, that leaves a 0.5 millimeter on either side of the screw head. Go 6. So we'll go 6 out, and then I'll do... How far in do I want to go? Well, it would be from here to there, and I want to go approximately half. So let's undo that. GrabCAD, yeah, it's just like a website that that has a lot of CAD models on it, and it's got a lot of useful CAD models on it. I guess I could just project that whole area. So that leaves me with a new thing that I can then make a box with. I didn't even need this side. Well, I do actually need that. So that over to here. No, I actually don't, because I can use the solid to do the cutout. I don't know how much of this stuff I really need. Huh. Creating problems for myself. The center of that, and then 6 millimeters out. This is what? I don't want that. That's not what I... Hold on, I gotta think about this for a second. I mean, we could make it a big, thick bracket. I could go like a couple millimeters in from both of these extremes, and then so like go like 4 in on either side. Where do I really need to measure it from? I guess that would be a 3-point box. So, and I'm not construction. So we go 4 in. Four in, 6 out. This is a weird way to do it. I don't know if I like this way. I could just do that as a box though, because I'm trying to go from this 4 by 6. Six and 4. That doesn't... Okay, that'll still be in the print, so that's good. Wait, did that attach to that? It didn't even give it a dimension. It snapped to the maker beam. Great. Four, 6. Did it snap again? No, okay, there's the dimension right there. It's hard to see. There's so many objects in this drawing. It's like hard to know what you're clicking on. Can I? There we go. Hard to see, hard to see, hard to see. This is where you run into mistakes. I can unview a lot of this stuff, and it'll make my job a little bit easier. Nope. Want a solid box. Oh my God. I can't see it. I don't know where it is. There. That'll be a big plastic bracket, won't it? That's gonna be a big bracket. We can put holes in it, I guess. Yeah, because I want it to balance the... I really do want it to, like, hold on to the pump. So we've got a little bit of a... Wait, what happened here? Oh, I went to the wrong edge. Wrong edge, my guy. So we're going from... You woke up to me complaining about something that was a completely different area of the... There's been a lot of head scratching today, so I don't think you missed much. But yeah, have a good sleep, man. Thank you for the raid. I really appreciate that. A lot of head scratching. I want the screws to end up in the middle of that. I thought we were on the next day. Oh my God. Talk about time travel. I would not appreciate suddenly being in Friday. Hey man, it's Friday. It's like, No. I'm trying to figure out how to evenly space these screw holes. If I go 3 by 3, I guess, from the corner. This is where, if you really wanted to, you could add equations that would dictate these locations, because going 3 by 3 from the corner is going to change if I decide to like mess with stuff. But I guess the projected geometry should hopefully protect most of this. I hope. It's on the right stuff. Yeah, 3 by 3. This is getting way too complicated. I need 6 millimeters to that, and then we got 4 millimeters to the cap head. We'll be using the small ones. It should probably be in a little bit more than that. Well, if it's going to be 4 screws holding the pump in, which seems entirely unnecessary, right? Maybe I should just do it halfway and do 1 screw in either side, and then it'll just, I mean, it'll be a wide piece that'll hold it together, but I think that'll be enough, and I'm not throwing unnecessary amounts of screws into things. Nah, let's just do 4 screws. Why not? Put as many screws as you deem necessary. Just all of them. All of them. So 3, tab 3, boop. 3 by 3. And then we do a 4 millimeter on all of them. This is just because I've memorized the screws that I use. I know all of the dimensions that work in the 3D printer. The number of screws and fastening brackets. Well, you know, there's something about design that I like. Okay, hold on. I need 2.5, which is going to directly match the width of the threads of the screw. 2.5. And then I'll do a... Should I do a 3? We'll do a 2.8. 2.8 usually does pretty good. And that'll avoid the threads of the screw. I like designs where they use a lot of the same hardware. You know, M3 bolts can hold a lot of force. And in my case, M2.5 screw, like laptop, pan head laptop screws, look good, and they hold all the plastic I ever needed to hold, right? Design, I love the 9-page print I'm holding on is making me want to throw a computer through a window. That's always fun. This is going to have to print from 2 different planes, by the way, this bracket that we just designed. But I guess it'll look weird, but it'll hold the pump, and that's really the important part. So let's see. From there, what are we doing? We're done the sketch. Where's my axis? Oh my god. Get back to where we can view what we're looking at here. So is that going to be super duper wide? I don't think so. All right, so let me bring back. So here's the thing with the bodies is that everything the body touches, every other body that the body touches, you want to make sure that it's not touching when you join something together. So I need all of these other plates to go away, except for the one that I'm extruding from. So see there, nothing else is going to touch it, except for, this is a component, so I can't join that. So if I extrude now, I can extrude this, I can extrude, where's the other, oh god. Let's unview the pump. I do kind of need a point that's just a couple millimeters above the pump. How do I do that? Like an offset plane on the thing, and then I can offset another plane from that. I'm trying to determine how tall I should extrude this. If I move the pump, I would very much like that component to change as well. Maybe that's just a little, maybe that's a little above and beyond the Call of Duty there. I go here and I go here. So that doesn't give me the right dimensions. Yeah, you could do a construction. You could do a construction plane. So I can make a construction plane tangent to this, and that'll make the top there. And now that I have that face, I can offset from that. So I can extrude, which is, I guess, the way that I should do it. I suddenly snap into action. I know what I'm doing. It's weird. So I want a fully solid block because we're going up for the print bed. Let me get, oh God, getting to the other side of the pump. I gotta, goodbye pump. It's a fully solid block, and we are gonna go, start for the profile plane, distance, I think it's to object, and we can select that plane. And then I think I can add a little bit to it, or maybe I could just do another extrusion thing. I mean, or I can just have it be two little claws that hold the pump together, but I don't think that's really going to work out for me. I don't really think that's going to work out for me. We'll put another hole in this, by the way, to make sure that it's not a total waste of plastic. If I do an offset of like -3, now of 3, yeah, see, that makes it 3 millimeters thicker, and it also collides it with a bunch of stuff that we don't want it to collide with. Oh no, that's okay. We have room for that. So see, I do an offset -3, and now the maximum thickness of my thing is going to be 3 millimeters. Now, can I make like a... No, I don't think I can. I could do a cut using an offset from the top pump geometry in the side of this thing. But now what I need to do is cut out a hole for the pump. And also I can make a cut offset from this plane that'll split this into two objects. Not worried about that yet. That'll come in a minute. God, that is so much plastic right now. Let's go back with the brushless DC pump. So now I just want to interfere the two so that I make my mount. So I'm going to take... Now that's going to be an extremely tight fit because this pump's dimensions are not going to be exactly the one that I have. I could use press pulls to make it slightly larger, and that might be what I end up doing. Just give it a little press pull. And in fact, I should probably give it an offset large enough. I could actually do a sketch on the side, and then I could give it an offset or two, and that offset would allow me to put foam in there. And the foam would quiet down the pump significantly. What foam do I have? What foam do I have? This is getting more complicated. There's 2 of them. How can that be legal? Is that legal? Where is my foam? I don't know. I don't know where my foam is. So maybe we plan for it without foam and we see if it's loud, and then I move over to the other method of cutting it out. Well, actually, we should do this with sketches. So we should do this with sketches. Sketches. So we'll add like a 5,000 sketches to this thing. Create a sketch. I'm not proud of how many sketches this is going to take. How do I get everything out of the way? Oh my God. So let's see, sketches. Where's my sketches? There. Can I hide all but? Look at hide profile, show hide, find in window, find in timeline. I need to hide everything but this sketch. Oh God. Well, maybe that's good enough for now. Nope, I gotta get the reservoir out of the way. Where is that thing? It's one of the first things in here. All right, so this. Two over here, this. And we'll do one of these. And I'm gonna make that offset. Wait, did it not like it? Are you kidding me? Oh, great. It was just like, by the way, no. 0.2. Yeah, I think 0.2 for now, and we'll just see if that's a tight... That's going to be a very tight fit, but... And then the body of that thing is not, it doesn't exist. What happened to all this work that I just did? Why did it rewind time such that the body that I created, okay, it rewound time all the way to where I inserted the pump into the drawing. So it took time and it moved it all the way back to here instead of actually allowing me to see this stuff. That's a little cheap. I mean, that plane is still there, but that doesn't really help me out all that much. The other thing that I could do is do another offset and just make a big cutting tool that would make the curve in the top of this thing. Like if I take this line, I do an offset of 3. I could just use that to cut the top out, the top of our holding bracket. That's annoying though, because actually, where did our solid go that we made? Oh, you know what? I unviewed it. I could have viewed it again and then I would be able to see it. Oh, I was wrong. I was wrong. Fusion was right. I was the mean head. I was dumb. I was the dumb one. It's actually this part. So that doesn't exactly create a profile, does it? It's close. I guess I'll just have to make my own curve for this. We could probably just chamfer the sides and then deal with it that way. Although I do need a little bit more of a flat spot in order to make the screw go in. So maybe I can take like the bottom of this and go flat from there to that edge. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to project that back into our project. This beneath. Did I miss? I think I missed. So the projected lines, and then take a line from here, come out like that. It'll be a little clunky, but I think it'll work. Could come from the top there, but I think this is enough area for a screw to exist. A bunch of screws to exist. So then from that, oh God, I got to navigate my way around. There's probably easier ways to navigate these things. That, and this, and this, and this. Oh, there's little. Those objects? No. Okay, so I can take these. I got the outer one, right? Yeah. So that is just going to go mirror. I'm projecting. How dare you accuse me of such things? How dare you, sir? That's a little clunky. I could add chamfers to it, make it a little smoother. It's not like we need to. This is going to print from the side, so I don't want to add any chamfers like to these edges, because then it'll end up sloppy, at least on my printer. But I do need to cut out the screw holes. So what I'm going to do is, well, I need to decide on a split point, and it'll probably be like 2 millimeters below this. So I need to create another plane in order to split this thing, or I could create a box on a side view, either side view that's going to do it. So let's go back to the sketch on the end. That'll minimize the number of sketches that I have to worry about. And I'll make a 0.2 millimeter split. That way it's at least putting pressure down on the pump, right? So from here, I will have a screw hole that is depth to a particular screw. The cap heads are what distance? They are, I gotta get one of my screws out. I gotta get a screw out here and I gotta measure it just for you guys. I don't want to use a super long screw. I don't think that's really necessary here. We're just trying to hold the pump in position, right? We don't need a lot of pressure on it. I could use a mega super long screw, but I don't think that's really going to be necessary. So 1 millimeter for the cap head, and then the threaded part is like 7 millimeters. 7 really, it's 7 millimeters. 8 millimeters. So if we go like, we go 8, we can go like 2, and then we can go 8 millimeters, and that way I can use a variety of size screws. So 2 and 8 millimeters from this, so we got to go 2 millimeter down, and that will be where our split is. So I'll do a construction line, 2 millimeter, oh no, 3, 1 millimeter for the cap head. Let's sink that in a little bit though. Let's go like 4. Let's do 1 millimeter, or sorry, 2 millimeters for the cap head, so they'll go into a little slot. Although the slot's going to be completely crazy shaped because it's side printing that. Whatever. And then I'll make a box that is not a construction box, that is 0.2 millimeter deep. 0.3? Nah, 0.2. 0.2, and then that meets up all the way on the other side of the solid. This is, I mean, you can use a plane to split this. I'm going to use a little box because that will allow me to split the solid and have a little bit of a squish for my stuff. Because even at 0.2 millimeters, it's going to be a very tight fit, and now the screws are going to press down on that. So we view that again. This is getting real cursed. This whole drawing. Getting real cursed. When things get cursed, good thing to do is to name all of your drawings, because that'll help you organize everything and find things. But there, see, I can just split it like that. Bada bing. Okay, now we don't need that sketch. We need this sketch. And then I'm going to take the extrusion of these inner diameters. Oh, God. How am I going to get to these? I'm going to have to unview. So we're going to do 3 actually extrusions from this. So I'm going to do, the first one is going to be unview the solid, extrude, this one, carefully. I want to make sure that I very carefully select the appropriate things. Extrude those, and then I'm going to do this. Nope. This and this. No, not the sketches. I'm going to do the bodies, this and this, and then I'm going to go start, object, this, distance, -8. Okay, whew. We made it. We made it through the first one. So unview the bottom piece, view the top. Now we can do 1, 2 of each of these. There's probably an easier way to do this if you use like holes, or if you make a screw object that has the sort of all these correct dimensions in it that you can use to then like cut out screw holes. This is just the way that I know how to do it, is by defining each individual screw hole. It lends a little bit to rearranging stuff, at least in my mind. Okay, so here's the problem, is that I want this to go 2 millimeter down, and then I need it to go up as well. So we'll start, I guess I'll start with, yeah, we'll go from the object, but the object's going to be this, and this just needs to go all the way through. So -5 millimeters, that gets us all the way through the bottom. So now we take, this is getting a little clunky. I mean, Fusion 360 is kind of fun to use. Things can get kind of cursed after a little bit. We'll get through it though. We'll get through it. You know, like for instance, like I probably should have this, all this stuff should be its own thing, but so we're extruding from object, this one, with an offset of -2, and we're going up through. And that's where the screws are going to sit. Oh boy, that is not going to be an easy thing for my printer to pull off. I think it might be able to do it, but that does not strike me as something that's going to be easy for the printer to really render into existence. We'll try it. We'll try it. I thought that the printer would be on the side axis And without support, I think it can get through those geometries. I can go back over it with machine tools and open that up. No sketch. View the thing. Brad plate bot Brack. Hey, my name is Brack, and that's a fact. I got a mom and a dad, and they are out back. We eat a big lunch, then we nibble on snacks. Or no, nibble on snacks, and we eat a big lunch, and then we all take naps. Let's see. It's from that Adult Swim album. Way back in the day. I forget what the order of this stuff, of the different things were. Reservoir, I want to look at again. Profiles, bring them back in. Let's see. We want to look at not the LED. The LED is dead to me. I think, yeah, aside from the other bodies, let's put the other bodies in. Software is like ready to just fight me. Okay, so that does our pump bracket mount. That's that there. We still have something to look at. I want to put little holes in the rest of the thing, in the other side of this plate, because why not? Why not just facilitate a little bit of airflow? It's not totally necessary, but I don't have anything else to mount right here. It's not wasted space, but that space will be filled with like fittings and stuff. Yeah, hopefully that's good. Let's get rid of the construction plane, though. I don't want to look at that. Planes, gone. Okay. Yeah, let's put just a little like tryptophobia thing over here. I could do like all kinds of different patterns. We tried last stream, and I didn't really get anything too good out of it. And oh, another thing is I could actually remove some of the material from this post. I just make a big cutout in it, a big square opening. You know what? That actually wouldn't benefit me in any way. It's gonna be a big chunk of plastic that holds this thing on, but I don't think opening this up will benefit the 3D print, because it's gonna have trouble bridging over top of material. It would be good to have it be kind of minimalistic and like have a big square hole in it. I don't know. Put a big freaking hole in the side of it. I could put the weird bubbles in the side of it too, but it's got to print from the bed being at the bottom. So I have to consider the shapes that I put into this thing, and if I put a square into it, that means the bridging is going to look all weird. Put a big triangle in it, or a trapezoid. Nah, we'll leave it alone for now. If I really need to remove material from it, I will. I think it's okay where it is. We need to go back to this sketch. And actually, I need to make a new sketch. Yeah, new sketch on this face. Create sketch. So this is the purely decorative cutout sketch. So I don't need to look at the radiator. God, this is so complicated. Radiator, where are you? There it is. I don't need the top bracket. It's all the way down here. No, wait, that's up here in the bodies. So bodied. So we only need the bottom to be visible in this. So let's get rid of all that stuff. And then I need to go into the parts. I need to choose the Noctua number 2 all the way down here. I can't believe there's going to be 2 friggin' fans in this design. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Where's bodies? Wrong bodies. Dude. I need this as well. There we go. So I just wanted to find an area in here that we're going to put stupid holes in. So let's start with a construction square from, how do I do that? Actually, 3-point square, rectangle, 3-point, here, here, and then this side of the bracket, and then take that and I'll make an offset of it of about 2 millimeter, -2. -3. 4. 5. 6. 6 gets us outside of the maker beam over here. 5 does actually, but or no. What is that? That's 2, so 4 should. Now it's definitely 5 though. No, it isn't 6. It's definitely 6. I guess, I don't know the thickness of that thing over there. 6 almost clears the maker beam. This is, what is this, 3? That can't be 3. Looks like 2. It's 3. So yeah, we're 1 millimeter from clearing the maker beam. That'll just create a little frame window here where we're not interfering with stuff and we don't look into this. So this right here, I'm gonna make into a box. And that's all we need in order to create. Why is that all fuzzy? What's going on with you? You're 3 millimeters from this thing. Is this thing not? Why does it do this to me? Why? Why do you do this? What is the constraint to get this corner to that edge? It always does this. Fine. You know what? Construction line. It always, like, the 3-point box is always like, yeah, do whatever you want, man. It's cool. And then you use it, and it's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. See, now that's all locked down. So when the lines come in as a slightly different color, that's something that's wrong. Like, something's gone wrong with it. What is this? Why is that all the way over there? That's weird. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So, all right, so now what I'm going to use is a plugin. It's one of the more popular plugins in Fusion. It's called the VORNOI generator. It's a VORNOI sketch generator. You use it with the sketching tools, but you make your own sketch for it, define an area that you want to fill with a VORNOI pattern, and you select it, right? Is that really 25 by 25? I don't have the, I guess so, huh? So you go to a VORNOI editor and it opens up a web page. Yeah, VORNOI. I've only ever read the word. This doesn't seem like 25 by 25. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Yeah, it's 61. What's going on with that? Go to the tool. There it is. Okay, use profile side. 61 by 45. Go to the editor. There we go. Now, I need this to be thick. I need thick lines on this because the 3D printer is not going to have a good time making this. Yeah, that's what everything I've been doing has been honeycomb. So I've been just trying to kind of branch out and use some weirder tools. This is not great. The other vent that I put on Burn the Subs is a bunch of ovals. I mean, a bunch of slots, basically, right? So I need a tool that's like a grating generator that I can use. Fusion does not like gratings. It doesn't really enjoy them very much. We'll use this. This looks pretty good. Hopefully the scale of it's good. Publish to Fusion. Here's the problem with the editor. It will not place this right on top of your sketch. No, in fact, it moves it all the way over there. Very, very useful and helpful, thanks. So now I need to go into this sketch, and I have all this stuff selected. I don't know if I can take this and like... Okay, I clicked on the wrong thing. Damn it. Grab it. Clicked on the wrong thing again. Wonderful. No, I don't want that stuff. It positions it based on origin. There's probably an error in the software somewhere. Super duper helpful. So it ends up putting it in the middle of your design. Oh, cool. Now I can't see the box that I need to put it in. That would be this. There's the box. The best I can here. Need to unview the maker beam. There we go. I think that'll be pretty good. Oh yeah, here's the extra super fun part, is that I have to select all of these. If I really wanted to save time and not clicking a bunch of stuff, I guess I could probably extrude the box to delete the box, and then I could extrude just this frame. But here we are. Okay, wrong way. Cool. Now I got kind of a little bit more of an interesting look out of this thing. Also, if I need to zip tie stuff, I'll have a grid that I can zip tie them to. Okay, so now I don't need the sketch anymore, and I'm pretty much, for now, done with the drawing. So I can bring in all this other stuff and go through this. Where are the sketches? That's a separate folder. Get rid of these two. Bottom vor. What's this one? This one is pump side. This one is bottom pump. Yeah, bottom frame. Rad plate bot. And this one's rad plate top, I think. Oh, this is the old VORNOI. I don't need it. Get this place fired up. You can try. You can try. We're designing stuff for Burn the Subs, things that I 3D print. So now I have a pump bracket and a nice little pattern right here of a cutout that will make it look not totally boring inside of there. I'm trying to view the right stuff again. Where's all the stuffies? So I need the Noctua back, and I need the radiator back, and this thing. What else? The Maker Beam profile. All right, so there. So now we've done a lot of stuff today. We've done a lot of crazy stuff. The design of the... I started the design by placing these brackets down that are basically the two side rails of the whole control panel that controls my laser etching table. And so in such, I've made a mistake. I made a mistake, and the mistake is that the rails aren't going to necessarily be like exactly what CAD dictates. A 100 millimeter frame rail with two 10 millimeter frame rails on either side ends up being 120 point something, and that point something really messed me up. So the first 3D printed cross beam part ended up being slightly the wrong dimension. And I've gotten around this with tolerances on the holes for everything else. We've got a control board that's going to sit behind a little pane of glass here. We have a power supply that I'm going to have to design something to cover. We have the radiator and a support with a pump inside of it. A big acrylic reservoir from other parts, a lot of trash around my shop that I'm recycling into this project. And then we have a side panel that has a bunch of indicator lights on it. Oh, I might need to actually correct that. That might need a correction. Uh-oh. Or it can stick out a little bit, I guess, and the screws that I put through there will just hold it on. We can just ignore that. We'll ignore that problem, and maybe it won't be a problem. I've got connections to the outside world with a DB connector and then two cut-off water connectors. I've got the indicator lights that are going to tell me when shit's fucked and I need to go back in and reissue, I don't know, certificates for the board. The Raspberry Pi stays logged in 24 hours a day to the Twitch API, but it can get messed up. Certificates expire and things go wrong. What we're working on right now is one of the last little pieces of hardware that I've wanted to design, and that's this little cubby hole right here. Now, that'll be printed in black filament. I don't have much of a unifying look to this whole thing. It's just kind of like stuff that looks neat that will sit on my wall as well. So we'll work within that premise and we'll get everything up and running. I need to do some 3D printing now. I think every part, not every part, I think only the top and the bottom brackets need printing now. Yeah, how advanced will the filters be? I was watching another streamer who does East Coast time. I think they're on right now. And the topic took a turn, and it was very funny, but it also filled me with fear and dread because they got on a subject that I really don't want to have be the focus of the board. I think my moderator was one of the people anonymously gifting subs, and some of the names that I saw in there. Anyway, we're leaving it up to Twitch is what I'm trying to say. We're leaving it up to Twitch and the imaginations of the people in chat, which that's part of the board. It's part of the board. It's part of the board. It's part of the board. I don't it's part of the board. I don't have any control over it. It's okay on Twitch, it's okay on the board. Now there will be I still need to make an emergency button where I can put the kibosh on a name. I can just put the bosh on a name, and the board gives up and moves away, because I have final say in what gets printed on the board. So there are certain names and things that I do not want to have end up on there. There was a gift sub to a name that was very near and dear to my heart, and I didn't really appreciate somebody having made an account like that. No, I mean, stuff, listen, I'm not that strict. They've cracked down a little bit, but I don't know how much we can actually trust them to have cracked down. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Twitch had the whole body part crackdown go on, and I know ADHD Degenerate got banned for his name, which is like, it was self-deprecating humor. He has ADHD, and he's kind of a degenerate. I mean, I know the guy, but he got banned. Oh yeah, I'm not allowed to mention names who have been banned, so you guys didn't hear that from me. Yeah, when Twitch is in control. Look, I mean, there were supposedly the name conventions were strict on Twitch. Sorry, you guys see me doing stuff in the background, like I'm like concentrating on two things at once. It didn't look like it. We can trust Twitch to censor things to a degree. I don't know how far we can really do that. I don't really know how far that goes. There's a bit of a limit to how far Twitch can actually censor stuff. Most of the censorship on Twitch is actually based on reporting too. I'm not reporting shit out here. I ain't no snitch. But people are snitches out there, man. This one is clipping too? Are you freaking kidding me? I'll have to deal with that later. I want to put tabs on the sides of these, kind of like these have. So I'll come back to that. And I also want to make that not a slip fit through, so that when I put a fastener up through this back plating for the control panel, there will be room. We'll work on this. We'll work on this tomorrow. There's two things that I might want to do tomorrow. I might want to try to move the radiator over. That might be a little bit of an ask. Considering the fittings that have to go in here. I might just have to have this thing stick out like a little bit of a doomer. I don't know why I originally planned for it like that. Yeah, that might be a tall ask, but maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Push the thing over just a little bit. And then, I really should have had these two brackets mirror one another. I didn't think about that before. But then we need to do plastic posts up to this stuff that will print out with the rest of this bed. Because I can do that now. I didn't think I could do that before. I can do that now because this sort of grid feature is at the top. So I can print it on the bed, it'll go up from there, and that means I can do the posts sticking up into the stuffies that I'm going to be bolting down. We'll also do better things for the fan, so that the fan mounts a little better too. That'll kind of unify everything. That'll be nice. We'll work on that tomorrow. Because yeah, it's like 4 o'clock. There's a Windows update. Ugh, that has to be done. No, it doesn't. I'm not going to do the Windows update. You're here just in time. I'm like ending. I'm ending right now. It's all over. I'm done. I'm done with this. No more. We had to correct a lot of stuff today, so it's kind of stressful. We'll be correcting more stuff tomorrow too. Basically, the whole drawing had to like be worked through in order to fix it. Good stream. Are you serious? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I have my doubts. I have my doubts. You just woke up. We'll go get some coffee because I gotta go walk the puppy. She's off the cone for the most part. She had it on last night because we can't quite trust her to not go for the stitches when she's, you know, all alone in the middle of the night. So she got spayed on Friday. So we had her off the cone and she's doing pretty well. So what's good about Vietnamese coffee? That's not the stuff, that's not that coffee that rodent eats and shits out and then you brew it. Because apparently that's created a lot of animal cruelty. A lot of bad stuff came from that coffee. You can buy it. It's not terribly expensive anymore. I'll tell my mom and dad that news. Good. Yeah. She's so she's a fluffy corgi, and where they shaved her to do the surgery, there's like an inch of fur. It's like they took her coat off. Like a winter coat. It's insane. I mean, like a human winter coat. It's wild. But yeah, she's up and bouncing around now. So I'm gonna go play with the puppy, give her a walkie, see if she'll poop. I like telling people that I'm gonna go poop on the neighbor's lawn. Or, I'm sorry, I'm gonna use the royal we. We're gonna go poop in the neighbor's garden. There's no telling what could happen. The walks are crazy. They're crazy. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow. Time to debug the corgi. Yeah, exactly. Run her through normal trials, see what happens. There's a couple things that I want to try to do tomorrow. One is moving the radiator over and see if we can manage that. And then the others are do the inside of the control panel and correct the position of everything, because then I can just jump out and do all the 3D prints, and then we can have a day of assembly next week, which will be nice, and it'll be a little bit of it'll be relaxing for me, right? So I don't need to do all the numbers and stuff in CAD. But I mean, you know, you guys have gotten a good impression of what it takes to build this kind of stuff in CAD. So I think it's good content. We'll continue with it. We're going to get hardware, like get everything locked into position, piped up with tubes, and then we will do the wiring, which is going to be like the worst part, because then I have to make all these decisions. We have to do all the wiring, and then I can put the control panel up on the board, and then we can move over there. I can move the cameras over there, and we'll do either I'll do on my own, or I'll bring you guys in with me, and I'll try to get the angles right because the computer's all the way over here. Move the table away from the wall, use it as a stool, sit there, put all the wires up on the wall, and then we're into software. That is basically the sequence of events. Oh, and in the meantime, we also have to bend the tube around to make the laser cooler. Yeah, yay decisions. You are dangerously giving me comments on doing 10+ component assemblies. I've never done this degree, except the RC car. I got kind of close to doing this degree of like designing solids around components, and this is new. This is all new for me, right? Choose the components, figure out what I need to order, what I have on hand, placing them in 3 dimensions, doing all of the extrusions, all that stuff. It's been a lot. But we're getting there. We've made several circuit boards, and yeah, add joints to the RC car. When am I going to find time? We got to work on burning the subs. We're getting there. The prints I'm on today is a sub-assembly of 830. I don't know the count. All I know is that this document is starting to really, like, I'm going to hit save again on it. Control S. If this thing is anything like Microsoft Word, there's potential for me to drag and drop like one component in here and have the whole thing friggin' just explode on me. It looks worth it for projects like BTS. I'm happy to be able to mount all this stuff in sort of a nice spot. But yeah, we definitely need to move this over. We need to move the reservoir over so that it's more centered. We don't need to. I think it would just be nice to, because I don't like this sticking out. That's it. It's just me not liking it stick out. Having the glass even with the radiator might be nice too, because then I can create something here that'll be even with everything else. These lights are I guess stuck here. They're important to have right there, because I'll be able to view the side of the board when I'm working on stuff down here in the future. This thing is going up. It's going to be up for several years, so we got to make sure we're doing right by it. All right. That said, I'm like spinning my wheels, and I have a policy of not doing that on stream. Also, Ducart needs to go to bed. It's like 4 a.m. for him. I'm off. I'm gonna go give the dog a walk. We're gonna do Friday stream. We're gonna be doing more of this stuff. We'll have plenty to do. I just don't want to get into anything new right now because it'll drag out and we'll go super late. And my doggy is she's only just gotten rid of the cone. So, are you excited for the Eagles? I'm cautiously excited. Yes, there we go. I have a feeling something really embarrassing is going to happen, and then I'll be reading all the memes forever in perpetuity, and just going, yeah, all right. But all right, I will catch you guys later. Back on tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, all that fun stuff, and we'll be working with Fusion and 3D printing and all that fun stuff. So I'll catch you guys then. Have a good one. I gotta look over here because okay, where's the okay? What? Hold on.